Ninja Dave came through. White shirt, green shoes. Janice Carter smiled at the day. White shirt, man. Jumpy had a folding chair. One little flask and a patient stare. We looked up slow, we looked up long, the whole backyard. Everybody, welcome. We're here today for the Coffee UFO with Sister Janice Carter and brother Ninja Dave, the return. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, John P. You're very welcome, brother. Glad to be here with you.
You too, my brother and sister. Such an honor to meet you, Janice Carter.
Oh, thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Beautiful. Okay, so firstly, I'm gonna ask for you both to introduce yourselves. Maybe if you want to tell your channel, I don't know if you have one, but
Okay.
Ninja Dave can talk about his channel, just the name, and then I'll make the question.
Okay. It's Ninja Dave 1970 is the YouTube channel. Same as on here.
And I'm Janice Carter. I don't have a channel, but I am on Facebook and under my name. I'm from Tennessee in the USA.
Beautiful. Thank you again very much for being here. And as we usually do to start the interview, I ask you, my dear sister Janice, when has this interest for the paranormal and the cryptids and the UFOs started? And you can talk now, my sister.
Okay, and I don't mind my age. I'll be 62 in January. My interest, I was born into it. Honestly, I was born into it. My first experience was when I was about 3 years old. And that was with a Bigfoot or a Yowie. You call them Yowie over there. We call them Bigfoot over here, or Sasquatch. And then I've seen a lot of odd things, paranormal things. I've experienced a lot of paranormal stuff. I know that you said that you were mainly into the alien UFO. We call it MUFON over here. It's multiple members of research.
Yes, I know. I know them very well.
Okay. I've done a lot of that with researching and got slung into it. Basically, my first vivid memory, and I do think that I possibly have been abducted, was when I was 7 years old, and I woke up and I couldn't move. I was on my back. I couldn't move. It felt like I didn't see anything, but something was holding me down, and it felt like I was a slab of concrete. And they were peeling paper thin, like onion paper thin, skin off of me.
Oh my.
From my neck down to my groin area. And it stopped after a while, but it was like I couldn't scream. I was, I wanted to scream, but I couldn't scream. And I could hear, I don't know how to, it was like something was telepathing with me, telling me it would be all right. And I can telepath. I've seen multiple unidentified flying objects and submersible objects,
UFOs.
Yeah, UFOs.
USOs.
USOs, yes. But that was my first experience with something like that. And then I have seen the aliens themselves, different types of aliens.
Oh my.
John P., I've had similar type of experiences too, waking up on an operating stainless steel table and vivid sightings of like just a shadow formed figure, you know, often in the hallways at night growing up, early childhood even. So there was like multiple childhood encounters with those types of beings. Even earlier memory of a sighting of a Bigfoot outside where I lived as far back as like 3 years of age. So it's been a lifelong journey and experience that I'm still trying to piece together from my memories and stuff of those type of it's experimentation really, where it was like genetically modifying and almost like awakening with bloody nosebleeds constant
Oh my.
up
Oh yeah,
into
the
my
nosebleeds are
early
horrible.
30s. Yeah, really, both nostrils even, you know, just real explosive type nosebleeds.
And I've had the outer body experience. It's like these things would come in different forms, and I call them aliens, but whatever you want to call them, they would come in different forms, and they would ask me to follow them,
Oh my.
and I followed them in spirit form. And it was like my body was there in the bed. It's usually at night. My body was there in the bed, but my being went with them. And then I would turn eventually and come back, and I'd try to get back inside of myself, you know. And I had to turn and twist and maneuver in order to get back inside of my body. Otherwise, I was going to die.
Wow.
Um, but I've seen what they, as far as the aliens go, I've seen what we call the Zeta, the reptilian, the Dracors, the grays, the whites, and different types of aerial craft.
Interesting. Tell us a little bit. Sister, tell me, do you think these different entities, let's say extraterrestrials, do you think
Mm-hmm.
they have the same message, or did your experience tell you different messages from them, or do they have a similar message between them usually?
There's different messages. There's good and bad in everything. And oh gosh. Um this may be an uncomfortable subject to touch on, but I'm going to say it. Okay. In the heavens, God is constantly warring with the devil. Okay. The good and the
Okay.
bad are warring against each other. Okay. God or whomever, whatever, created the universe, the galaxies, and whatnot. It's all interwoven together. Okay.
Okay.
So you've got good and you've got bad aliens or ETs, and they're constantly warring together. Some of them, they want nothing but robots to do their duty.
Yeah. The cyborgs, kind of, yeah, the little soldiers.
Yeah. And it's like, I think that this is a continuing battle that goes on, and we're just a part of it. I see you waving. I can't see.
Yeah, when the messages appear, I'm just saying hello. I'm listening well, Janice. Don't worry. I'm not in any way, not listening. I'm listening very well. I
I
just want
go
you to talk, and I don't want to interrupt.
Well, John, I go by a warrior woman, Jan, and I've gone by that for years. The reason,
Jan. Okay, I'll call you Jan.
okay, um, the reason I'm a warrior woman is because of the fact that most of the ETs are searching for a key.
Okay,
Okay,
I want to know more.
bad ones need this key in order to try to overcome the good ones. But the good ones are guardians of the key. And
Okay.
I help protect the key. I am a warrior woman. I am not the key itself. And I haven't
Okay.
explained a lot of this to William, or I call Dave William. I'm one of the few, because I had an uncle that's name was William, and we called, I thought the world of my uncle. So I called him by his middle name or his first name. But anyway, I haven't
Beautiful.
told him a whole lot. I do tell him, I try to be truthful with him, but it's like with Igor Bursov, who is a friend of mine in Russia, that's a hominologist, and he was curator and everything of the Darwin Museum. I don't keep it from you, but I only tell you when I think it's important that you know about it. Because the more you get wrapped up into this stuff, the further down the rabbit hole you go. And it
Oh
could be
yeah,
a danger to you to know too much.
exactly. I do understand that
Hmm.
information can be good, but it can be bad as well.
Yeah, it can be bad
Especially if
also.
it's like power, like illimited power. Like a motor, a water motor, for example, something that
0 point energy, you know.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. I wasn't remembering. Beautiful. Please continue. Sorry.
But but with that, they are searching for that key, and it's a never ending war. And sometimes they might need DNA samples or whatever from us, the the aliens or ETs. But I think that they come here and they check on us, and it's like they have been coming for millenniums, you know. So this is not something new. You look in every one of your mythologies, you have what we call,
Something,
uh,
yeah.
yeah,
Some
even in the
god
Bible.
or
What Jacob's ladder? Where did the ladder go to? It had to go into a spaceship. Enoch, where did he go? You know. And here's the thing: if telepathy is so complicated, okay, it says in our Bible that you cannot look upon God. Okay, how did God communicate with Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden if it wasn't by telepathy?
Yep, I understand that.
You
There
know,
is there is a lot of
and people think I'm nuts or crazy or whatever, or a pathological liar. I don't care anymore. I could care less. I just tell it like it is. And if I don't know the answer, I'll say, I don't know.
yeah, and sister, you've done your research, so you're not saying things lightly.
Yeah.
That's how I get it.
No, and
So
I have family members that I try to protect. Um, I have great grandchildren, and it's like your children even stuff rolls downhill, and it can affect my great grandbabies, you know, if I let it out. A lot of stuff. Okay. I can't read anything that's being said in the text.
I
oh,
don't.
don't worry,
We'll be
sister.
on the show afterwards. It's
There's
a little
nothing like
stress.
really important. Don't worry.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a friend relaxing is saying, I've been camping my whole 54 years of life. Wow,
Oh, cool.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
I don't even have like many years of camping.
Well, I don't go camping so much anymore. We had an
Yeah, me neither.
experience at this one place that we haven't been I haven't been camping since. Have you?
I don't think so. Actually,
What experience did you have last time you camped?
We went with a Bigfoot research group or a Sasquatch research group down to an area along the Ocoee River here in Tennessee, Georgia state line, and we ran into um, Banshee and Adrenaline, which is it's in different mythologies. They mention the Adrenaline. Um, we had a spiritual battle. Hellhounds, these bat-looking winged things. It was a constant battle.
Wow, that looks very scary. And they were big bats or?
Yeah, it was. I don't know how.
Yeah, they had wings that were like at least 12 inches, across
Oh my,
the
that's like
wingspan. They were,
Thunderbird material over there.
yeah, they were really
Yeah,
big bats.
they were big,
They were kind of a reddish brown color too.
and this went on for what? How many hours?
It was a whole weekend. I had a sighting the first night of this entity, John P., called Adremalec. It's called the Devil's Wardrobe Manager. And I tried telling everybody about it at the campsite because I was the only one that saw it that first night.
Yeah, you were the only one that saw it.
And I even heard these like dragging chains. Well, the second night, when everybody heard these dragging chains coming down the road, it literally picked up a large boulder and threw it against a tree.
Yeah, but it came up to my tent.
Yeah, that first night.
Oh,
That first night, Janice yelled at it.
Yeah, I thought it was Bigfoot snooping around. And I had some sage and stuff laying on the picnic table out in front of my tent. And I heard it coming up, because it actually tripped over one of the stake tie downs, rope tie downs. And I think I said, get out of here or leave it alone or something.
Yeah, you said get out of here.
I said, get out of here. And it snorted like a horse snorts. If you ever had horses, you know how they blow.
It like did this blowing, snorting, laughing sound like
scary, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, it was pouring rain. And I can't remember when it threw that tin can.
Yeah.
I hollered at you and you came out. I mean, he wasn't very well dressed. He came out in his undershorts.
I came out in my underwear and night vision goggles and a 357 Magnum.
Yeah, and this thing was telepathing. I could hear it and he could hear it. It was like, what are you going to do with that little old thing, that gun? It was challenging us.
Yeah, that looks like very like trying to scare you.
It was really spiritual warfare, like where we were praying through intercessory prayer and everything that happened that weekend. Really, we were there meant to be at the right place and at the right time for that purpose. But it was
interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
Because when you're gonna spend the night, it's not funny anymore, right?
No, but we do research, of the nighttime, and most of the time, now I've been ran out of places, camping several times, but not as how should I put it, frightening as that time.
Yeah.
Okay, I know what you mean.
Yeah, that was frightening. It was like, okay, are we going to get out of here with our lives, And we make sure we're the last ones out because, we put other people's safety before our own, which is probably a stupid thing to do. But I know that he has my back and I have his back. And if we go in together, we're going to come out together or we're both going to die together.
Yeah, ectoplasm, John Pia, all
Oh
over me.
yeah.
And I turned to Janice and I
Wow.
told her, I said, I'm gonna give you a big sloppy kiss. And she looked at me, she said, that's ectoplasm. I said, that's what? And
I
she
knew
said,
what it was.
don't you remember Ghostbuster Slimer? And I was like, so you're telling me I got slimed? I
It's
mean, I had
on
it.
that camping
Yeah, it's
trip.
like every time I think about it, I still feel it on my hands, that real slick feeling, almost like silicone.
And does it wear off?
No,
No.
no, it's like connected to your DNA and subconscious.
Oh my.
Yeah.
And it's like his hands when he thinks about it, and it's like his hands are. I don't know how to explain it, but if you touch his hands, are sort of slick. If that makes any sense.
Wow. Yeah, yeah, I think so. Like
Water
um
repellency or
yeah,
something. Yeah. Like,
And that's
aqueous
been what,
something.
4 years ago.
yeah, it's been several years ago.
So, and we did get a
Interesting.
print.
I never
Um,
felt anything like that.
Yeah, we tracked it that first day when we got there, and it had 3 toes like a velociraptor with a human like heel. There was elongated heel, you know.
Well,
So we didn't know what it was, and I tried describing it. Janice told me she thought it was an alien. Well, it had this. It looked more like a reptilian, like a T Rex dinosaur, even with the little arms, the way they hold their arms up under their chest, like. And it had
but it had
a body that was more human shaped, like the upper torso and legs and everything. It looked like, you know, sort of like a Bigfoot with an elongated nose,
but it wasn't
like a
hairy.
horse head or donkey mule head. You know, if you didn't know
well,
what a dinosaur was, people in ancient times would probably describe it as being horse headed or mule headed, but it's more associated with the horse, I think, because of the way it laughs. You know,
Yeah,
it makes that mimicking sound of a
mm,
horse laughing.
but it didn't have hair. It was just
No, it was like reptilian, like
reptilian skin.
dinosaur. Yeah,
Yeah, like scales, more scaly.
yeah,
interesting.
more
I've
bumpy.
heard about the reptilians. They say they have the eyes like the cats, kind of.
They do. Now I've seen other ones. I was in South Carolina. I don't know whether you ever heard of the lizard man thing that went around back in the 80s, late 80s,
Maybe.
um, down in South Carolina. I did research for that. Um, I think that it was one of the reptilian ETs, possibly. But I have seen the shimmering green reptilian ETs, you know, and they do have slit eyes like a cat.
Sorry, sister. Someone here is saying that I should have my face hidden. So now it's is it better, Bise?
Yeah, you're in the dark. It's really dark.
Yeah, it's because I'm smoking cigarettes
Oh,
at the window, sister. So don't worry.
okay.
I'll go back when it's finished.
Okay.
Okay. No problem.
Okay. Let me see. So, sister,
Third row window to the
tell me a
third.
little bit about some orbs. Have you had any experience with orbs?
Orbs, yes. All the time. What would
What
you
do you
like me?
think? Tell me what one story that you had with you, and what you think could be behind it.
Um, I don't. Let's see. Well, gosh, which
It's
one do
your
I pick?
opinion, remember, sister. It's just
How
your
about your
opinion.
grandmother?
Oh,
Okay.
talk about my grandmother.
Yeah, in the Lord.
My well, My grandmother, back when I was little, yeah, this is one of the first times, she called it ball of lightning, but
Yeah.
it was sentient. It's like it knew and it was aware of us, and it was doing things that, um, if it was just a ball of lightning or something moving across the ground, it wouldn't have gone in these certain directions or come toward us or gone away from us. And the ones I've seen, there's different ones that can materialize into, and they happen to follow me for whatever reason. I have no clue why. But I've had people take pictures of me, and these orbs are all around me, and they're turning into beings, or you know, and then you know they'll. It's like the one that you saw that I didn't get a glimpse of, that black one.
Yeah.
They're different colors. They're not, but, but there was one we were out. I told him, long story short, we saw some lights in the sky, or I did. And you can roll up my side. And we went on out this road and came to a cornfield. And I told him before I got out, I had on sandals. I've got on sandals today. I said, I don't want to get out here at the edge. But there was a Bigfoot and this cone-headed thing in this cornfield, that we could see. And the minute we stepped out, there was a snake that went across the top of my feet. I froze. I knew it. But anyway, and he gets out, and it went between his legs, the snake did. But after we saw the Bigfoot and this cone-headed thing that ducked back down in the cornfield, and we were doing night vision. And he started filming. Okay, these other things had sort of disappeared, and there was the orb that went across, and it was coming back, and it was doing all kinds of different maneuvers. And then I said, I think it's on to you filming it. And man, it took off like crazy.
Wow.
I mean, it took off the minute that I said that. And I did. I thought, okay, it realizes that it's being filmed. It's fixing to get out of here. And it did it not?
Yeah. Yeah, it did. First, it looked like a wobbly star in the sky, or a planet even. And it was much lower in the sky above the two beings that were out in the cornfield. The one had a big tall cone head, just like a Saturday Night Live skit, and it thought it was hiding from us because it was below the eye level of the corn, but its head was still sticking up and you could still see it. And when it heard us talking about it, laughing at it for still having its head sticking up, the head slowly went down behind the corn. He lowered his head when he realized we could still see him. And it was so funny because when Janice said that about that orb, that it was somehow like cognitive of us, or sentient even, it took off. Like as soon as she said that we were caught on to it, that it wasn't able to cloak with the background of the stars and the night sky it was trying to blend in with.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it took off, and it was much lower than what it appeared to be, much closer to us. It was just right above the power lines, it went over top of and across the road. I actually got that on video, but I didn't get the cone heads on video because I didn't think to record it, even though we were looking through a night vision camera. We were looking through the viewfinder of the night vision at these two guys that ran up to meet us there.
Well, he calls them guys, but it was a Bigfoot, and I don't know what the cone-headed one might have been a Bigfoot. I don't know.
Yeah, it was something else. It was and then Janice, she seemed like a green laser before that even. So
yeah, that light.
Yeah.
Coming from the sky?
Yeah, from the sky. It was just coming. It was like a green laser light that kept coming down into the fields and over the. We live in what we call mountains, which is the foothills of the mountains. And it was coming down over the mountains, and I was like, okay, something's going on,
Beautiful. That's scary a little bit, I have to admit.
Well, Janice, she's got like this sixth sense, just like with that snake. And I was trying to like,
I knew that snake was
I
gonna be
pulled
there.
over on the side of the road, Jumpy, randomly, but I was trying to prove that I could like scent locate them as well, just off of like thought impressions or feelings that you get, you know, like a sixth sense. And then Janice picked up on that snake that was there. It was so girthy. When it went behind my heel, it moved my foot. It was so muscular, the body of this snake.
Yeah, well, just
And
imagine
she
it
got
going
toe
across.
slimed from it, from its belly
Oh my
slime,
God.
went across her feet. I mean, and Janice is terrified. One thing she's scared of is
That's the
snakes.
only thing.
The
I
only
am
thing.
scared to
Yeah.
death of a snake.
She'll wrangle a Bigfoot, but she's scared of a snake.
If you holler snake, I'm out of there. The
Me
snakes
too,
can
me
have
too,
it.
bro.
Yeah. We've experienced together all sorts of things, though. I mean, I think
Look
part
who's
of my
here.
childhood experience even is connected with Jan. Even
Yeah, it's like when we first met. He's telling me, and he says, "You're gonna think I'm lying." I said, "No," because I'm really open to listening to people and trying to understand. And a lot of this stuff does give people PTSD, just like being in a war or something, you know, or having
Yeah,
some sort of traumatic experience happen to you. So I'm trying to listen, and I'm trying not to be judgmental of
yes,
people
we can't
because
be much.
their truth may not be your truth, but you need to understand that this is from what they experienced coming from their heart, you know. And you could tell a liar if they're lying, you know.
yeah,
But this
We
city,
we 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 do learn with that with time, right? Because it's just we do so many interviews and we know so many people that
yeah.
I don't know. It's just
But
it's a
it's like,
feeling, right?
yeah, it's like he came up to me at a conference that I was doing with MUFON and Bigfoot. We all lumped it all together.
yeah. Travis Walton was there. I actually got to go out to dinner with him afterwards.
Yeah,
And I didn't know who Travis Walton was, so I was like sitting across the table
and
with the guy
Angela was
that
here.
made the movie Fire in
Wow.
the Sky with, and I was just into the Bigfoot. I didn't know about all this other UFO stuff, even though I'd seen them and experienced it.
But he came up and he says, um, "You're not going to believe me, but he had been in a lot of places that I had researched." And I was like, and he says, "You're going to think I'm stalking you." And I said, "No." And then he told me about levitating, which I've done myself. And he said, "You're not going to believe." I said, "Yes, I do. I believe you 100%."
Yeah, like
And we've been
who's
together
gonna make up a story
researching.
like first time you meet someone, like meeting someone like Janice Carter, a celebrity in the Bigfoot community, and tell them you're going to think I'm crazy, but I levitated, and you know, you just leave the cards on the table where they be, and you're either telling the truth or you're not. But I felt like if I withheld that information on the location of sightings I'd had, she would know I was like
Well, I
being
can read
untruthful, you
people
know?
too. I
Wow,
can read
interesting.
people and pull stuff from them. I don't do it unless they're aware that I'm doing it because it's invasive, if that
Yeah.
makes any sense. Um, but and it's not witchcraft or anything. This is a God given gift that I have, you know.
When we had that Adremalec encounter down in the Akoi, John P., the two other researchers that we met, we'd never met them before, didn't know anything about them. And Janice told them both something about their lives that nobody else knew. Like the one guy, the only other person that knew what Janice told him was his wife that wasn't his wife. It was his fiance that wasn't his fiance. It was his girlfriend who Janice told him, said, "You're pregnant." Not that men can get pregnant, but your wife, who's going to be your wife, your fiance, is your girlfriend, she's pregnant and you're going to have a girl. Well, he ended up having a girl. He proposed when they just got the ultrasound results back. And it was too young to know that it was actually a girl, even what sex it was, just from the ultrasound. He
Wow.
took his girlfriend to the doctor because she was sick. and they, morning sickness from the pregnancy, and so they did an ultrasound, found out that she was pregnant. So he proposed to her right then and there. Well, that was just that week of that expedition and campground where they hadn't even broke the news to any of their other family on either side that he proposed to her, and she accepted right there on the spot, right there in the ultrasound room. So it was really cool, to see Janice in action, action, Janice action.
I don't know that it's always fun though, because I told
We need to get an action figure made of you with a
no,
Bigfoot.
Beautiful. I know what you mean. I've met people like that. Like
Mhm.
they come in like how can I say it? Like when they come in, it's just like people just love them and get amazed because whatever they say, it just hits right, and everybody's just like, "What? Like how?" And I think that's a true gift, Janice. You know
Well,
that everyone has a gift.
a lot of people perceive it as very odd, or they get frightened by it, because I can say something or ask a question. If I feel something that is dark and I'm unsure of, so to speak, about this person, I will blurt it out. I'm very open with everything, and I blurt it
Like
out and I
kind of
ask them about it. And then
speaking
it's
out
like,
like a
well, how
sore
would you
thumb.
even know about that? Are you a witch or what's going on? And I'm like, no, it's just I I feel like I'm put in places and I don't understand it all the time, but I'm there for a reason. And I find out that reason later, if that makes sense.
Yep, I know what you mean.
Mhm.
It's very, very,
But it's
uh,
like going
it's
back.
good, but it
I'm
can
circling
be
the wagon
unnerving.
here. I'm going to circle the wagon here. Going back to when me and William first, Ninja Day first met, um, I told him, and he went to go home, and he was followed by, what was it? I don't know how to explain that. That light, and you had that time, that missing time. What should have taken you 4 hours to get back from Cherokee took you 9.
Yeah.
And then I saw the light. My uncle died
That's a
that
lot.
Oh yeah.
light in the
From
sky,
there in
and
Cherokee.
Travis and
That's a
Yeah,
beautiful
that
image.
was really crazy. So we're at dinner, John P., with the state MUFON director from Tennessee and another director from the state of Kansas, and Travis Walton and several other people, right? And
some of the big
Travis asked the question, has anyone experienced being knocked unconscious before from an encounter with the Bigfoot? And I said, oh, yeah, I have. Several times I've experienced that, be in the woods hunting and you just get so sleepy you can't keep awake, lots of times.
I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to get outside of the vehicle and take a smoke break. I smoke cigarettes, and he can't be
Okay.
around.
Yeah, you can go, and if you want to go, Dave, you can
She'll
go,
be
or
right
you
back.
can stay.
She'll be right back.
Yeah, I just don't want to smoke around him, and he can't handle the nicotine.
Yeah, I'm allergic to it, so.
Oh, bless my
Yeah.
brother. I didn't
But
know
yeah,
that. Look, I'm gonna change the picture.
yeah,
Okay.
but yeah.
I'm
I
gonna
was
change the
there,
picture of the
and
show. Okay,
I never
I've
knew
done it
anything
wrong.
about Travis Walton or his
Oh,
story.
thank
I
you,
never
Dave.
saw the movie Fire in the Sky then. And so he asked me that question, and he says to me, he says, that's interesting, very interesting. And so we we leave the restaurant, and there was a lenticular cloud, is what Janice was going to talk about. And then there was this light that she saw in the sky that came down, and they all knew it was her uncle that had died. Yeah, he passed away like right at that time, even. So
Oh my God, Orb was right. He just said that before. Orb, are you joking with me, my brother? Oh my gosh, he said something like that. Please continue. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah. So so I decided I'm gonna go do a live um find the Bigfoot. I'm gonna go someplace I've never been over in Cherokee, North Carolina, and go look for Bigfoot. So I find the ground stick sign, I go off in the woods, and I get mind speak, like the Jedi mind trick, that there's nothing to see here. And I'm like, what do you mean? There's all kinds of like piles of elk dung rolled up in balls, stacked up like a stack of pyramid cannonballs or something, stacked up with three ground sticks around it in a triangle. And I get mind speak again while I'm doing this live with the Kansas MUFON director. Well, after the second time it told me there's nothing to see here, I realized, what was going on. Then I was like, oh, right, there's nothing to see here. So they saw Travis, the state of Tennessee MUFON director, Angela Shear, and
Yeah?
another Bigfoot researcher named Matthew Delph. They go up to Klingman's Dome, okay, where this fog is starting to roll in. And they said they encountered seeing lights in the sky coming towards them. And Matthew Delph stated that Travis had this look on his face like, oh, hell no, not this again. Like he was like, had this terrified, shocked look. Well, they mentioned that they saw my truck parked there on the side of the road when they drove up to Cleveland's Dome. So I'd driven up to stop at a bathroom there at Newfound Gap in the Smoky Mountains National Park. And I got out walking up to the parking lot and saw this pink light behind me. And I turned around and looked, and there was no light source there. Well, it was just total dark at this point. And as I was walking on up this paved section of the trail, it's actually part of the Appalachian Trail, Charlie's Bunyan Trail. I'm walking up to my vehicle, and this figure runs up behind me. The shadow is casting in this pink light that is like enveloping everything around me. And I jumped and turned around and drew a sidearm, and there was no one there. Just that shadow that ran up behind me that just instantly disappears. And it was being backlit by that pink light. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, yeah, there was a lot of like, that was coming back from Clayton, Georgia. That was at another conference after the one in Cherokee.
Several times. And that one up there at Base Mountain.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That one at Bays Mountain, I had a sighting that threw a rock, a Bigfoot,
Ah,
and I got hit with infrasound and had short-term memory loss of it with Matthew Delph, and he said it was nothing more than squirrels throwing things from the trees or dropping things from the trees, which didn't make any sense. But I understood it because he was under the same effects that I was under. But my memory returned after calling Janice and Robin Haynes, who told me I needed to get some water and a protein bar, stop at a gas station, because I was lost in Virginia. Like I got turned around, was disoriented, didn't know where I was. And it was just, that was up in Bays Mountain State Park here in Tennessee, where we had another conference at. There was all these incredible structures. It was funny because I was interviewed by the local ABC News affiliate there, and it went national and was like the number 2 news story, picked up syndicated broadcast across the nation next to the Spice Girls. I came in second to the Spice Girls, talking about the Bigfoot conference in Kingsport, Tennessee. But it was funny because after the conference, we had that encounter.
And the singing under the steps at the hotel.
Oh yeah,
You stayed with me long enough, you're going to see everything.
you have to speak up so they can hear you.
I said, I told him, we were staying in a hotel, and William was like, "Oh my God, what have I got myself into?" Because he thought we were all a bunch of kooks, a bunch of idiots, crazy. And I told him, I said, "You stick with me long enough." Well, we kept seeing eye shine over in the woods from the hotel. And every time I'd point it out, it, shut its eyes or turn. Then there was a entity standing in under the stairs. And then there was one that materialized. We were on the second floor. We were out on the balcony. And he goes chasing after it. It turns and he goes in this little teeny tiny laundry room that they had. He's looking.
It looked like the Invisible Man, John P. Like the dude had sandy color hair, glasses, and a plaid shirt and khaki pants on. He just turned invisible. Like I saw him cloak. And one of the other people there, Dr. John Stanley, he touched the hand of this invisible man. Like it actually touched him and left this smell of cinnamon. And I thought these people are crazy as Cocoa Puffs. I thought, what have I gotten myself into? Like Dr. Igor Butsev, this Russian hominologist, is there at the motel with us. And Robin Haynes is there, John Stanley, Janice, me. I mean, oh, yeah, we're having all kinds of this crazy, just
Wow.
off the chart stuff, happening. Like, and at first I was real skeptical because I didn't see the eye shine in the woods. I didn't see this shadow form under the stairs till later when it went into a concrete pillar, just like smoke being sucked into it by a vacuum. It was like a mist, a black fog that rode in and went into the motel itself. And I mean, you talk about, Janice kept saying the whole time it was something evil there, and I didn't have any sense whatsoever to know what it was. But yeah, it was.
But anyway, it was funny because he went chasing out after
I went chasing the invisible man
thing, and he's looking in these little drawers.
I'm looking at every closet, and ice box. I mean, washing machine, dryer,
and I'm like,
cupboards.
It's not in there. He said, "Well, did it jump off the balcony?" I said, "No, it just vanished because they use portals and vortex and earth energy. A lot of these, what we call cryptids or paranormal stuff, ETs, and they can cloak. I mean, go back and watch Star Trek,
yeah,
and follow it through. The science that is there. Did we ever think that we would be video chatting, being able to see with each other, back in the late 70s? No, we didn't think that was possible. But guess what? Here we are. Technology, and where did we get some of this technology?
It's up to date, right? The Star Trek, if we look now, it's old, but it's up to date because it's the touch technology. It's everything kind of. It's weird. Very
Yeah.
it is. It is.
Yeah. I'm gonna get.
Okay, Janice gonna get back in there. So she's coming back. Isn't this fascinating to get to talk to you and share with you, John P? I mean, the cryptids and stuff with the Bigfoot, it's all connected, even with the UFOs and stuff. I'm finding out because there's connections to both of our childhoods, even with these experiences. And I know personally for me, it brought about an early consciousness of who Jesus Christ was. Like I knew intuitively who God was. God incarnate, flesh and blood. I knew the whole story as early as 6 years of age. You know, so
Okay.
and I think Janice had that same enlightened and awakening with her experience because she told me one time she wanted to get baptized. At a young age, and there was nothing that was going to stop her.
Yeah, I was 8 years old, and I decided that I wanted baptized at 8 years old. And we couldn't hardly find a preacher that, or a reverend or anything that would do it. And finally, we did, and I was baptized in the lake in the mountains. That's where I wanted to be baptized. Because if there's an ounce of truth in anything that has been said, you know, and I pray a lot, and God answers prayer. I can't hear.
I'm not talking.
Oh, okay. It may be echoing or
It's
something.
echo on our end.
Yeah, it's echoing on our end.
Is it? Just started?
Yeah.
Did you get a call or something, Dave? No?
No, it's better now. It was just echoing there for a moment on our end.
Might have been because that guy was sitting with his radio on over here.
Yeah, something was causing it.
Anyway, but no, it's like if and I felt like I needed to be baptized, and I do pray. I pray to God a lot, and I get my prayers are answered a lot of times, and I know they were answered. So there is some higher form of intelligence somewhere. It's not. I'm not going to say it's on this planet, but the universe, the galaxies, and everything go on to what we consider infinity.
You want to talk
yeah.
about what you saw with Mary Green?
Oh, he said to talk about the UFO that landed in the field. Mary Green.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay.
Please.
At any rate, I mean, I've had a lot of experience with this stuff. I was up at Mary Green. She's now deceased. Me and her started out. We wrote a book together, 50 Years with Bigfoot, the coexistence in Tennessee, or Tennessee coexistence. But at any rate, we would get out and we'd do research. Well, she had been abducted multiple times by the ET extraterrestrials. And we were at her house. I was spending the night, me and a fellow researcher and my daughter. My youngest daughter, she was little at the time, about 5 years old.
Can you hold this?
And anyway, okay. Anyway, this ship, it was a circular type ship, came down out of the sky, landed out in the cow pasture, which they had 100 acres.
Okay.
Landed, and these things come. They weren't gray; they were sort of white, but they were miniature like. But they were moving so fast that I could hardly keep up with them with my eyes. It was like they were running around collecting something out in this field. I don't know whether it was rocks or what it was, but it was something off the ground. And they were getting closer, and I thought, okay. I kept looking at the clock. I'm like, okay, no time. I don't want to lose time. I don't want abducted. They did go in and they took Mary out of her bedroom. She was gone for 2.5 hours.
Oh my.
And then they brought her back. And I'm watching the whole time. I'm going to admit, I was terrified. I thought, we're all going to go missing. And we're never going to be heard of again. But then it just rose up. It was like 5 a.m. in the morning. And it started about midnight. The witching hour. But it rose up about 5 a.m. in the morning because like I said, I was religiously watching the clock, every minute checking,
Oh my.
and took off. I mean, it just that quick. It was like a snap of the fingers and it was gone.
Wow, sister.
And, I stayed with Robin. She moved from Michigan to South Carolina. And we've had explain lights, like a beam of light coming down in your yard and moving over your house. Explain these bigger than football field spaceships, for lack of something, what to call them. They're rectangle. They're huge, as big football field. Two of them come down and they follow me for miles up the highway, you know,
Okay.
and explain these human looking, but they're not human, aliens that show up at your door and knock, and they they're really weird, and
They
they
think they ask
interrogate you
you
and tell you that
information
you
when they
better
knock
keep
the
your
door?
mouth shut, huh?
Oh, they don't like you to talk?
They don't want you to talk about them.
Ah, okay. Okay, I know what you mean now.
Explain having I told William, and a lot of people don't believe this, but the Bigfoot, the Sasquatch, can be huge. They can be very, very tall. Explain a telephone size, pole size Bigfoot that comes down the road, walks into the edge of the woods. There's a beam of light from this ship coming down, and the Bigfoot goes up into that beam of light, and it takes off, and then you have the military aircraft after whatever this was. Explain it.
Wow.
You know.
They either know about it, or they can with the radar, or they are actively part of it.
hmm
One of the
When I
two.
lived when I lived in upstate New York, now I was married to several military people that were, but my ex-husband at the time was in the Navy, and we were in Saratoga Springs, New York. This was in '87, and they had this on Unsolved Mysteries, a show that
Oh,
we have over here.
yeah,
These
I know
lights
it.
it was a huge light. You couldn't see the ship itself, but a round circular light that had like a laser, like a strobe light, square lights coming out from it in patterns going across the sky.
Okay.
Well, the Navy Thunderbirds, the Navy Air Force got after it. It was over Saratoga Springs. Uh, like a minute later, it was over Albany. And then 3 minutes from the time they spotted it in Saratoga Springs, it was out over New York Bay, over the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
They never could explain it. They had it on Unsolved Mystery, asking questions, and there was over thousands of people that saw this. What was it?
Yeah,
It
definitely.
wasn't of this
Wow.
world. And then up here in Tennessee, me and my ex-father-in-law were out fishing on the lake, and this was where I said I've seen the submergible kind. It came up out of the lake, out of the water, and
I've heard
hovered,
of like
hovered
UFOs.
like a Black Hawk. It was a triangular shape craft. Hovered like the Black Hawk can hover, the
Yeah.
airplane, and then took off. I mean, that quick. And I asked Joe, he's deceased now, I said, because he was in the military and he worked on aircraft. I said, what
Wow.
was that? He said, it's not ours. He said, it's nothing that's been built here on Earth. And he was
Right.
retired from the military and had worked on aircraft during Vietnam and everything else, you know.
I
So,
understand. It's hard to if someone says that to you and you know they're saying the truth, you kind of think there's a big something missing in the middle, right? From one
yeah,
step to another, there's a big step there.
yeah,
Um,
but
Metal, equipment, computers, whatever.
yeah, but
I
it's
don't know,
like
maybe.
going back. He's deceased, Eric Von Doniken. I don't know whether you've heard of him.
Yes, I've heard of him. The
Chariots
Chariots of God,
of the God. Now he wrote
Ancient
several.
Alien.
Yeah, Ancient Aliens. Okay, so you know Giorgio, big hair guy. but
Yep, of course. I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens.
it's aliens, and I mean, okay, you go to some of these ancient ruins that depict this, even over in Australia. You're in Australia,
No, he's in.
or where are you at, hon?
I'm in
He's
North
in
Portugal, so it's a
Portugal.
long way. But it's kind of halfway if you think about it.
Yeah, but I
It's
mean, where
halfway
you have
there.
stuff, you have stuff there too. But you go and you see what we call cave art, okay, or petroglyphs,
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
you find them. uh, You know what are they're ETs? They're alien. Why did our
Yes,
ancestors back thousands of years ago draw this? They drew what they saw. They did not make this up. They didn't have imagination that far advanced. I mean, even the
incredible.
Neanderthal, they found cave art that was definitely Neanderthal. They're depicting aliens.
Exactly. And the astronauts, thank you so much, my sister. The astronauts, they carve on the walls. I know about that. All
Yeah,
over, like in Africa, in even in the desert in America,
South
um,
America
South
and
America. Yeah.
and and Australia. I mean, the indigenous Aboriginal had art. In out in the middle of the um. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think. Outback, depicting what we consider ETs or aliens and
Coming
astronauts.
down from the skies, usually.
Hmm. Is it Tapa? How do you say that? Tapa? Oh gosh, the one.
Gobekli Tepe.
Yeah, say it, William. I get tongue twisted.
He's talking about in Turkey, that ancient site, Gobekli
Tepe.
Tepe.
Is that the way you say it?
Yeah, Gobekli
Ever
Tempe.
however you say it, the one I do a lot of. I read a lot of weird material. I'm into archaeology and stuff.
Oh, amazing. I love that.
they are still excavating, but they found this art on these pillars that are, like Stonehenge pillars, only better suited, you know. How, and it's like it's depicting what we would consider an extraterrestrial, you know. And going into that, okay, how did the pyramids get built? I don't buy it for a second, because there's pyramids all over the world, not just in Egypt, you know.
Yes, I know. In China,
In
South America, we know that.
South America, North America, um, even up in Canada, and I think they found one down in Antarctica now.
Yes, I've heard about that one.
It's like
I'm not even sure if you can see it on Google Earth. I'm not sure about that, but
I'm not sure that you can, but I do know
I got
that.
it blocked out.
Yeah,
The image from satellite.
but it's like,
right.
how did they move these tons? I mean, 500 ton, well, 50 ton. I mean, air machinery cannot move those rocks. So they had to have a knowledge of how to do this. And don't tell me a bunch of Egyptian slaves put the pyramids together. They definitely didn't travel down to South America to do it, or to Antarctica, you know.
It was a long way apparently from the rock quarry, from where they have those rocks to there. They had to use the river, and I don't think they had boats that could. I'm not sure if, look,
That
they
could
could build
transport.
huge barges, but put them on top and take them out. That would be like, you know,
Yeah. And it's just like I
really
can't think of the
difficult.
name of them on Easter Island there, the Maui or the statues of the people. Those things are huge, and the indigenous people that are there said that they walked to the places they are that are looking out over the ocean. You know, well, they had to,
Easter Island.
Easter Island, yeah, they had to have some sort of knowledge. So, what if the ETs are bringing this knowledge? Some of them, the good ones.
Yep, I do. I have heard about downloads of information and how we got from big phones to now smaller and very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And the crystal technology, I think that's something that
Mm-hmm.
is
Well, it's just like
gonna jump very
this.
soon.
I don't know whether have you heard of the crystal skulls?
Yes, there's
Okay,
two, right?
there are two that have been authenticated as being for real. They weren't made modern. You know, the one has a lot of information in it, binary code.
Oh, I've heard about that.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, explain crop circles. A lot of people think that we're crazy because we run around
Yes.
researching that. I've got pictures, trust me. But explain that and explain those patterns and explain, you know, I can explain all this stuff. The only way you're going to make sense out of this stuff is to realize we are not the only smart thing in this universe, in this galaxy, even on this planet, even. We may not have the knowledge to get to them, but they've got that knowledge to get to us. And then I can also ask, what if we're just like a matrix, part of the matrix?
Like
And
a simulation.
yeah, and whoever's playing us gets tired of us and pushes the delete button.
As
Then
simple
what?
as that.
It's as simple as that.
It does explain, right? It does explain a lot if we think about it, logic and
Hmm.
um, very interesting. Dave, what do you think?
I think that a lot of this technology is like hidden in the past. Ecclesiastes says there's nothing new under the sun. Everything that shall be will
Will be
be
again.
again,
Yeah.
even.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like history's repeating itself in a way. If you look at Gene Roddenberry in Star Trek, the USS Enterprise ship is just a circular disc, a UFO, classic UFO, with the nuclear reactor engine that the U.S. military developed for an atomic powered aircraft. And if
Yeah.
you go back and you trace that history back, it's not far from where we live, actually, because Oak Ridge, Tennessee is like the home of the whole Atomic Energy Commission and the whole nuclear bomb program, the Manhattan Project, and everything. It got its start at the weapons labs facilities here in East Tennessee.
Was here
They had,
from my house to there is 36 miles. From your place
yeah,
to there is what, 25 or less?
yeah.
I mean, we're right slap
They
in the
had,
middle of us.
they had, I want to say by 1952 or so, they'd already developed the second atomic powered aircraft engine. It was a molten salt reactor, a liquid metal uh, reactor of sodium. So basically,
Wow.
what I'm trying to say is that if you look back at the things that, just like in Star Trek, the flip phones, the lasers, we've got that stuff today, that technology. What if we had that technology back then when they were secretly revealing it before it was released? Like they knew about it back during the 60s TV series of Star Trek. Like Gene Roddenberry knew about the atomic nuclear powered aircraft engine. Like this did not even get released until years later. Like we developed an atomic submarine.
Mm-hmm.
But the first thing they developed before it even was atomic powered aircraft. Why is it that the nuclear submarine is known about when the atomic aircraft they've kept secret all these years, even still? I mean, if they keep JFK files a secret, what else are they keeping secret? Bigfoot, even, they finally admitted that the government had secret files, the FBI even, on Bigfoot investigations that they took part of, and even did testing on that they claimed was nothing more than deer hair. Well, why would you keep deer hair a secret
for over 30 years?
Yeah, Janice says for over 30 years. Well, it's because they're not going to come right out and tell you that they're secretly developing this stuff, or that there's a monkey lab in Oak Ridge. A monkey lab. Think about that. Do you think those scientists that call it the monkey lab are talking about chimpanzees and orangutans? I think they're talking about Bigfoot.
Well, now that at the time,
Yeah.
back
Okay, I
during,
understand what you mean.
but back before when they were testing the rockets, before they actually sent a man to the moon in the 60s, they were sending them and chimpanzees up in test, and dogs up in test rockets to see what the side effects would be, and a lot of them died.
Even Sephardic Jews that they experimented with, even children that they were doing genetic research on and modification, they launched them into space. The big-headed aliens that they said at Roswell. I think that those were the children that had the swelled heads from re-entry that crashed. Yeah, because that's right around the time of the whole Nazis doing their genetic experimentations, and it all branches off of eugenics, this social study of science.
Heard about that.
Like, what's his face did the show back in the, what was it, the 50s or the early 60s? Orson Welles, the War of the Worlds, broadcasted on the radio channel.
Yeah, I remember talking about that.
Mass hysteria here.
Yeah, fear of aliens and UFOs
invading. And if you read the book, you get to the end of it. What got rid of the aliens? Do you know?
No, I haven't read the book. Tell me.
The Common Code. It annihilated the aliens.
Okay, that's similar to the War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise. Sorry, I hope I don't get a copyright.
Yes, if you saw the one with Tom Cruise, that's a remake of the original movie. But
okay, yes, okay, exactly. That's it.
Okay, but yeah, it's
the viruses and things like that. Bacteria.
Could that be the key that they're searching for? No,
the key is got to do with a lot of knowledge.
Okay,
I'll tell you.
Codex, yeah.
But I'm not going to go into detail.
No, we need to talk that privately. If that's
Isn't this fascinating, you guys? I mean, really,
we're being monitored. Everything. I've found tracking devices on the vehicle, listening devices. And it's like we can be talking, and if I get too deep into certain subjects, it'll go blank. The phone will cut off, the computer will cut off.
The echo on the phone.
Yeah, the echo on the phone, we experience that a lot. But they've got
I know
taps
what you
on it.
mean. It's like
They-
the zap with Bigfoot when the Bigfoot zaps. Do you have any zap stories about Bigfoot?
Well, I have encountered infrasound from them. I don't know that I'm immune to it, but I don't have the reaction that a lot of people have. But honestly, I was raised up around them. So that being said, the one time we have a family group of them that are up in um, Livingston, Tennessee, which is quite a ways from us, up in the Cumberland Mountains there. That I call the Simpsons because they have characteristics like that cartoon show back in the day. And they were out hunting one night, and I had taken and gone with about 80 people out into their area so that hopefully these people could get a sighting, you know, or whatever. And they were hunting, the Bigfoot were hunting, and because I was one of the few people that could telepath with them, they focused on me. And they told me that they wanted us to leave, and I was like, "No, we're not leaving. Just go about your business." And and people were videoing them and everything, taking pictures. And this was at night time, not thermal imager. I was using a thermal imager, but at any rate, so they got mad, and it was a mental punch to my gut, to my stomach. But imagine. You mentally see this happening with their big fist, but you feel the side effects of it. I went to my knees, and another researcher that was there immediately grabbed me up and hugged me to try to shield me from this mental attack.
Okay.
It jumped from me to a total skeptic. He didn't believe in telepathy, he didn't believe in Bigfoot or anything else. He drove around. It made him sick. He drove around for like 5 hours after we had left. We stayed several hours later, into the night. But he left in his vehicle and drove around, and he finally came back and next morning, and he said he didn't know how to handle it or how to take it. He said, I didn't believe in this stuff, but he said there's something going on, you know. But he immediately went to the thought that it was all demonic. And
I've
you get
heard that so much.
that a lot. It's not all demonic. The stuff is not demonic. Some of it can be, but it's you know not all ETs are, not all people are demonic. Not all Bigfoot are demonic. Dogmen or ghosts or poltergeist. Yes, they are demonic. But
Yep.
I, I've I've done a lot of research in a lot of different fields. I'm just no more in the Bigfoot research
Because they
field.
can disguise, right? If they can mess with your mind, they can disguise. And remember, they
Hmm.
can mess with your traumas and vulnerabilities. They always go for the most vulnerable in the group.
Yeah, they
Um,
do.
yeah.
And
So,
it's like, for instance, I can be telepathing with them. I can do it from a distance. I can remote view. I mean, now the Ryan Center over at Duke University has done studies on me, so I am legit. You know, Dr. Stamey, I heard William mention him that we were doing the conference with that time. He was a part of the study, you know. They they put us in a room by ourselves. They tell us to, do certain things, and it comes back legit. We're actually picking up stuff, seeing stuff, and it freaks people out that aren't used to it. But it's sort of normal for me, you know. It's normal to me, but it's very odd to other people.
Yeah,
But
I understand.
it's not demonic.
No, it's certainly not demonic, but the gift of prophecy is a true great gift from God, and it's something that,
I use it for the good.
yeah,
I use it for good. I try to stay on what I call the straight and narrow. I don't go off into the brown areas or the black areas or anything. But now I have had people that were a demonic person touch me, and it's like shaking that feeling off. One time it took me 4 months to shake that off.
Wow.
This guy was totally demonic, and he touched me on my up on my collarbone on the left side, and it was just pure evil. I don't know how else to explain it, and I could not shake that feeling for about 4 months.
Wow, sister. Yeah, I know what you mean. This gift may bring you some problems for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, try talking to how do I explain that? Try talking to things mentally, and then everything wants to bombard you because it wants to try to channel through you or talk through you, or you pay attention to them. And it's like, no, I'm focusing on this particular one, you know.
Exactly.
it's like
Tenfold.
once one finds out that you can talk to them, they all want to jump in and talk to you.
Chit chat. Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get it.
Okay.
Okay.
They
Take
need
it.
to call and find a good time and
Yeah.
good day and hour, schedule it.
Yeah.
That don't happen that way.
No, I know what you mean.
I have had them wake me up out of a dead sleep wanting something at night, especially the Bigfoot, or what we would call a ghost, a spirit of a deceased loved one, you know. And I've dealt with that. I've been on a lot of different television shows.
William Shatner, he's on that one.
That was one. No, that was the next to the last one because
Was
I went
it?
on that one on Hulu.
Oh yeah.
The
Oh
Van
my
Sinken.
gosh, yes. So we have a famous experiences, a contactee. That's how we call it.
Okay.
Contactee experiencer.
Yeah.
Thank
It's
you so
in the.
much.
It's the. I want to say the fourth season. Joe Fax. He was with Buford. He came to visit the old farm where I was raised, did some research. He went down and he met with my Bigfoot, but now he had been abducted and he had an implanted um, chip where they could tell where he was. The ETs could tell where he was.
Wow.
And my Bigfoot friend that I was raised up around. I know this is going to sound really bizarre unless you know my story. But at any rate, I was raised up around these Bigfoot, and we called him Fox. That wasn't his real name, but that's what my grandfather called him. But at any rate, so I called him that too. I told Joe, we were sitting around the pit fire out in the front yard, and Joe could see him, see the Bigfoot. And I said, Joe, you need to go down to Fox down there next to the little shed barn that we had. I said, just go on down there. Don't be afraid. Don't try to video or anything. Just, you need to go down there and let him talk to you. So Joe did. And when he got down there, Fox removed that chip, that piece of metal stuff that was in the back of his head, you know.
Oh
And
my.
Joe went home. It was 2 weeks later, and I think he was taking a shower or something and noticed that hole, in the back of his head where it hadn't healed all the way. And then it was like gradually part of his memory started coming back, because what Fox had done was sort of like put him in a
hypnotic
trance because they can do infrasound just like a tiger or elephant can do. And he had used a little bit of that on Joe to calm Joe so that he could take and do that and get that chip out of it, that tracker chip that the ETs were using.
Thank you. I was noticing yours too. Yeah.
But,
yeah. Yeah. They're
somebody
nice.
complimenting on our Jeep, and they've got a Jeep.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was one of the last ones, and I'm trying to think. What was the name of the one on Hulu? Where we did the paranormal crimes is the name of it. It's on Hulu channel. The Vanishings of Dennis Martin from up here. He vanished. There was no trace back in the 60s. No trace ever found of this child. There's been 8 people that have gone missing up in what we call the Smoky Mountains or the National Forest up here, and no trace ever found. Not a shoe. The dogs. I get search and rescue dogs and cadaver dogs and everything to go in to see if they can find these people, and the dogs won't even track. They see their tail stuck between their legs, cowering. So, in a lot of these places, it's like me and William will go out, and or Ninja Dave will go out in a lot of these places, and he's gotten so he listens to me more now. If I say, "Hey, we need to go, we need to leave," he'll do it. But he used to test the waters.
Oh, I see a dog man.
Yeah, he tell him. My dog had to go in and he'd flip me every time. But at any rate, I'm going to let him tell a story about when we was down there, and he thought I was shaking pom poms.
Oh yeah.
Thank you so much, Dave. My gosh, brother.
Jen's gonna take a break real quick, but yeah, that was when I ran up on that scary looking cow that had a big white patch on its face, and it had this big bulging eye, and I screamed like a girl, and I jumped over into Janice's lap, about ran off into the swamp. Yeah.
The dog man coming up and Brownie standing over on the side, and you telling me that you asked me if I was shaking pom poms.
It sounded like a cheerleader shaking pom poms. I was like, "Is that you? Is that you making that sound?" That's kind of being a little bit silly about it, but
let's go.
Yeah, Janice had to tell me to get my ass in the vehicle now. I was in a hypnotic trance then, even. I was like, and it always starts with your bladder too. I noticed, it seems my bladder.
That's a telltale sign that he's with William, that they're trying to put him in a trance or hit him with the infrasound, because he has to go pee every time.
Every time something starts, it starts with my bladder.
Oh my!
It's like an inside joke that we have, like a sixth sense. Only it's it's your bladder. Gut feelings. Trust your gut.
I always have that feeling when I go to the woods.
Yeah.
And hike. But I'm walking and stuff, and I usually go for an hour, and I drink my iced tea.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that part is natural. But
I didn't know that. That's
this other part, though, yeah, it's like the infrasound. It causes Well, you know how when people are frightened, sometimes their bladder will naturally release itself and
Yeah,
they'll
yeah,
pee
yeah.
all over
I
themselves.
understand.
And that
It's a,
infrasound, it
it's
can
a,
cause that level
it's
of
a
fear and
reflex. It's a
anxiety.
reflex.
Yeah, it's like a reflex and it's uncontrollable. And I think they do it at times, the Bigfoot especially, they can do it just to get you to like stop right where you're at, not to come any closer. And sometimes you've run up on one that's cloaked and you don't even know it's there, but you sense that there's one nearby.
Yeah, like that one that was in between us up there that went poof up between us up
Yeah.
there. I'll
Yeah.
the name of the place. But, you know, people that were even skeptic were with us when I was talking to them that time. And I was talking out loud so that people, I think, or maybe I wasn't talking out loud. I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I remember hearing
But
you though,
yeah,
but it might have been mind speak because I was over behind the dumpster that time.
yeah, and there's no way I wasn't talking that loud.
Yeah, I had a sighting of two Bigfoot. One was a male and one was a female. And that female, she looked about as big around as a black bear, like on all fours. You would think it was a bear at first until she cloaked, hearing her chatty voice. And she was pitching a fit. She slid down the mountainside, and I'm over here emptying my bladder behind a dumpster, and I look up and see them, and I hear all this, but I'm also hearing Janice, who's out on a boat coming ashore, talking to them. And I can look over and see Janice, and I can look up and see these two Bigfoot. And that female, it was like through telepathy, I could hear them talking to each other, like she was telling the male to come down there and give her a hand. And he basically, it was like you're hearing an audible voice, but you're hearing the translated voice mentally, like into English. It was really difficult to try to explain hearing a translation, but at Pentecost, they each spoke in tongues, and the multitude of people in different languages each heard what was being said. So it's kind of like an experience like that with the Bigfoot, where you could actually hear Janice tell them that she was Manita of Fox, like Little Hand of Fox. And this was some of the family clan that Fox's wife was from, even. So they were like distant relatives, we discovered. And I was like having this moment of deja vu. It was like I was looking at a rock, like I was like so fascinated by it, like, wow, look at this rock. The Bigfoot put this here. And then I happened to remember, no, Bigfoot didn't put that there. You put that there before, when you thought in the future you were going to think it was Bigfoot putting it there because you would have an encounter here. So I knew like years before that this place, that I'd have this encounter and sighting. And you can't really describe that kind of a deja vu feeling any other way with this sighting. And then hearing them speaking was just incredible. This female, Janice, liked to tease me about me having a secret admirer. This female Bigfoot. you know, she had come by my tent one time, dragging her finger real seductively behind her around the outside of the tent, right around the back of my neck. And she smelled like really good, like really like if you could bottle that scent, I mean, it was like irresistible. It was like sweet smelling flower, like mountain flowers or something. And so, yeah, she had been up there watching me, and I was aware of her even being there before this sighting of her occurred. And we'd been camping there for about a week, it seemed, and I was fishing from the shore. But I think what it was, I was watching these kids just to keep them safe while I was out on the boat, while they were playing along the lake shore, in case a bear or something came up. I didn't want a bear coming up and getting the kids. So I was under the effects of that infrasound, even where I was nodding off, falling out asleep, and I'm trying to fight it as best I can to keep awake, to keep a watch out. Finally, I had to get up and move around, and I think she just saw that I would make a good mate, because one thing they do, they really watch their kids. They get on to us for not watching our children because we just let our human kids run around and take off on their own 2 feet. That's probably how I had so many encounters, childhood sightings with the Bigfoot, because they were watchers. They were watching me as a child, even when I'd have those chance sightings running around.
Back Creek.
Oh,
Very interesting.
Sounded like
the
camera.
After
And then
midnight story.
yeah.
Yeah, and then that where we
Janice is reminding me of all these different times we've had sightings and encounters together. Yeah.
well, the one up there at that cemetery that you got a photo of, and it's in behind me. I'm 100% sure that that's an alien of some sort.
Yeah, something cloaking like it's the
It's white,
white light in the background,
Translucent.
trying to blend in.
but it's got a face.
And it's got a figure to it too, even though it's
Face.
pixelated when you zoom in on the image that I took of
Okay.
Janice there. But
And then my mind just went.
well, what was it? About 3 weeks ago, I saw that black square shaped shadow.
Here, yes. Scott, even
Scott
up there
Carpenter's
when we were
grave.
doing that trail with Kaylee, and she couldn't make it up the mountain. I said,
Yeah.
that was ET. There's something more here
Yeah.
besides the Bigfoot. It's ET. And that bear that come up behind you guys, you didn't even know.
Oh, that bear was getting out of town.
Yeah. I was like, bear.
That's something too, John P. When we go out at times, there's like just this dead zone where there's nothing moving. There's no sounds, not even a cricket, not a bird singing. And
Oh, I don't like that.
yeah,
I know a place like that.
yeah, you
Kind of
run up on these
authentic, but it's
locations.
scary.
I actually, Janice mentioned this, but I was driving home from her house one night and saw a UFO cross the road in front of me that I talked to AI about a Google chat, and it
Okay.
talked about a gravitational wave it created beneath this craft. Now, this craft just looked like a cloaked UFO that had such strong gravitational field that the light from a headlight was being sucked into it like it's a black hole. Like if you can imagine this fabric of space time moving across the road in front of me, this gravitational wave where it's creating a field around it, like a distortion field of an image, almost like you throw a pebble in a pond and it creates that ripple effect within space time. It was creating this blurred gravitational wave beneath it, and it looked like a black rectangular shaped bar from the side view, as it was like almost like a slash mark, leaning over at about a 45-degree angle, levitated as it went across the road. Now, what was interesting, when my headlights shined on it, there was no reflection from this black void. It was like the light itself was being bent around that gravitational field around the craft. It was literally bending light around itself. So it just looked like an empty black void against the background trees behind it. So
Wow.
At Raptors. Remember that? And
what is that?
that where that green light was at Raptors, and that
Wait a second. Wait a second.
So that's where we saw Black Panther.
Yeah.
Okay, let me know if it's good
That's the
now.
pictures of the.
Okay, show it now.
Yeah.
Okay, here's one. Do you see those lights in the background? Now, there was a green light that was coming down at the time. I don't know whether you can see this off my phone, this
I
picture.
can see a little bit. Go a little bit down.
Yeah.
Point down a little bit more.
Point down
Perfect.
like that.
Okay. Okay, I think that's
There was a
good.
green
Just
light.
explain and we'll try to understand.
There was a green light that was coming down from the sky, and then this little dot
Okay.
in the sky.
Looks like right there.
Yeah, but it's nighttime.
Yeah. Hard because it's yeah. And it's a clear good example of it.
Well, I was trying to get.
That's where we saw that Black Panther.
Okay,
Yeah,
we're back.
well,
We're back
close.
now. Sorry, guys, we lost you for a little bit, but you're back now.
Uh-oh.
That explains it.
Yeah.
Didn't want it seen. That's what
That's
was going on.
strange.
It happens
Explain
all
it
the
again,
time.
sister. Sorry, explain it again.
There was a green light. We were up in a wooded area in part of sort of part of the national forest up here. This green light came down. I noticed the green light. We were on one of the back roads. We travel the back roads like crazy.
Okay.
This green light came down from the sky. And then all of a sudden in the tree line at about 20 foot up from the ground were two white lights, like orb, round circular lights.
Okay.
They were a good distance apart that showed up. And the sky still had this greenish hue to it. But there was no storms going on or no tornadoes or anything, you know. And I was trying to show you a picture of that, and it did the
But
thing.
I saw the two lights. I saw it.
Yeah. But I'm trying to get
Wow,
to
thank you for capturing that, sister. That's amazing when you can have that piece of evidence.
Yeah, I don't really remember that.
Oh, the time that we were going to Athens in this purple.
That was from the phone, though, emitting infrared light, and it was picking it up off the windshield reflection.
Oh.
It looked like a UFO, but it was just the camera. These cameras will emit invisible light and
Yeah,
even
I know for
record.
focusing. Yeah, I know
Yeah,
that. It's
if
usually
you take
one
two phones
shot.
and put them facing each other, the one phone when you record the other phone, you'll see it'll make an infrared flashing strobing light, and
Yep.
it often looks purple or pink
Here we go.
depending on the frequency.
Yep.
Here's
that picture of that ET. I'm standing. I don't know if you can see it. You may have to turn around.
oh
Okay, we're good now. Oh,
Can you see that?
beautiful.
I'm looking over the fence. This ET is right here. That white light in the bushes, and behind me, William took the photo.
yeah, I'm standing here
Let's see. Let me
taking a picture, and there was just this single rose right there, which was so random. It was so odd that there would just be the one rose on that entire bush.
Now I cropped this bean. Hold on just a minute. Let's see which way I need to go.
They took all the others and they didn't want to take the last one. I'm joking.
Right.
Yeah,
And look,
exactly.
this was zoomed in, cropped and zoomed in on that bean.
Oh,
that
Almost seems like sunlight coming through the tree, but there's those
this
woods.
was at dusk.
Yeah, there was no opening there through those woods.
Oh, very
Light come
interesting.
through like
I
that.
can see two eyes over there, and it looks a little bit ant-like. Not ant, mantis. Sorry.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, but you can see it.
Very.
I mean, William got the taking a picture. He was trying to take me in that room. All that.
Another history too. I went there before I met Janice, and discovered the tracks that I didn't know what it was. Later, I saw on the news that same picture where I was standing taking that picture of a capybara, which we don't even have those here, but we do at some nature reserve. It's some South American like rodent family or something or another. I don't know what what a capybara is, but they've gotten released now, and I've seen the strange tracks from it standing there looking for Bigfoot. Well, Janice, when I told her this, she's like, I know exactly where that cemetery is. It's actually this old cemetery
You
that
have
that
to go.
fence is.
It doesn't even have a road going into it. You have to know where it's at. You have to drive through fields and back through woods to get to it. Now, years ago, here we go into the ghost part of this. I deal with everything, but one of the children is buried outside of that graveyard,
Outside of the fence there.
outside of the fence, a, g- a good ways, several yards away from the cemetery itself. At the time, I was up there with some younger friends of mine at the time, and I was a lot younger too. Um, and I started talking to this child ghost, you know, and they knew something weird was going on, but they didn't know quite what. But the child was looking for his father. Now, his father is actually buried inside the fence in the cemetery. And I was trying to help them get together so that there could be some peace, at least spiritually, you know. And I did manage to get them to be able to come together. But why would you bury a child outside of what we consider holy ground, consecrated ground?
Like
You know,
cemetery, yeah.
yeah. Why would you
Outside of the
bury it
fence?
outside of the fence, outside of the main cemetery? You know, why would you do something like that?
Yeah, the headstone is outside of that square fenced in area.
And it doesn't have a regular headstone even.
No, it's just a square concrete post that's sticking up over that child's grave.
But there's Bigfoot in that area.
His father was a soldier that was killed in the Civil War too, so that's another part of the tragedy of this encounter story where Janice actually saw the child. Other people saw the kid too, like it was a lost child looking for its father.
Ghostly form, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, ghostly form, I might say. But, you know, and I'll, I'll, where the farm is, which is from me to it now, is 16 miles from my old place I was raised with my grandparents and everything. I mean, there was all kinds of different paranormal stuff and activities and stuff. I've even walked into a portal and had to backstep out of it before. Not once, but several times. Um, the Lost Sea, which is the second largest underground cavern of water, is just 6 miles from the old farm. And right now it's 10 miles from where I'm at. So, you know, and there's a lot of history. There's a lot of earth history. I think that the earth and especially water, my grandmother was Native American, Indian. And while she believed in God and everything, she also had some of the indigenous people's beliefs. That's why I wasn't told to suppress any of this ability, imaginary friends, what people call imaginary friends. By the time you get into kindergarten or grade school, you're told that this is not acceptable behavior. There isn't such thing. You're not talking to this entity
Yes.
over here. You know, this isn't real. This is make believe. Well, my grandmother never did that because she saw things. She interacted and did say things, and she used a lot of natural herbs and stuff for medicine and stuff. It's a million wonders she didn't poison me, but anyway, but it worked. You know, these remedies work to cure me. But but it's like we had Wampus Cat, we had ETs, we had crop circles, we had, oh my goodness, the list goes on and on and on.
Black Panthers.
Black Panthers,
Mountain lions.
you know, vortex portals. I mean, there when we were down at when I was down at Robinson, South Carolina, there was a portal out to the side of the yard that would open and close nightly almost.
That's where I had my first orb sighting, John P.
Wow.
That hadn't been too many years ago either, and just really off the chart encounters as well. I mean, right
Remember,
there.
we were coming up the highway, ran
Oh,
out of gas,
gosh.
and you thought it was an airplane coming on in
Yes.
for a landing. There wasn't no airport anywhere. That
Janice
was a
said it was a
UFO.
cloaking UFO coming in above us. It looked like it was an airplane just hovering mid-air, like frozen in space and in time.
And we run out of gas. He's having a panic attack. I thought I was going to have to slap him, but I reached over and grabbed hold of his hand.
I was like hyperventilating after this disembodied voice in the back seat shouted out loud, John P. I'm driving down the road having this airplane coming in for a landing, you know, with its landing lights and gear down like a 737. And Janice is like, that's not an airplane. That's a UFO. It's cloaking like an airplane. It's disguising itself like an airplane. And then this disembodied voice shouts like this name out loud that sort of sounded like my name all ran together, you know, like, I don't know how to describe it. Just like, woo! I was like, ah! You know, Janice is like, oh, that's just Mohawk. I was like, Mohawk? Who's Mohawk? You know?
He hitchhiked with us. He was actually cloaked in the back of the bed of the truck. And, you know, how do you tell people that? William was still skeptic at the time.
Still skeptical, but
yeah, it's like he has to see it, and I don't try to influence what he sees.
no, she's not talked to me at all about all this UFOs and alien stuff she's experienced because she doesn't want to influence my experience or my thoughts or impressions about my own opinions about stuff. So
yeah, so I mean, how do you explain that? Okay, Bigfoot can cloak. They, you know, they basically can turn invisible, but they're not invisible if you know how to see them. It's like the Predator. I don't know if you ever seen the movie Predator where it shimmers and it's actually cloaked, but there's always outline. And you, huh?
You're talking about the vision of the Predator.
Yeah,
like the transparent moving.
yes. So anyway, Mohawk was in the back of the truck in that form. Okay, it's going to echo again.
go ahead.
Anyway,
Wait,
because they don't want me talking about this, so it's going to try to echo. Take it over.
It's just a delay. Go ahead.
No.
It's a delay between you talking and then coming through his signal.
So anyway, I'm trying to explain this to William at the time, and he was having a major panic attack. All this stuff going on.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of feedback from a delay echo, but the phone makes this little bell chime.
Now, is it better now? Let's just test it.
Yeah, it sounds better now. Yeah, it's still there.
Okay, so it's not my phone.
Yeah, it's odd. Odd that we'd be talking about this every time.
Every time
we get on talking about something,
and they don't want me talking about it. They shut me up or knock me completely off or something.
Where was we at? Was we just on
that down there coming back from the conference there where we ran out of the gas?
Oh gosh, John, that's like the craziest thing ever. With that UFO sighting that looked like a cloaking airplane. It came in like it was landing at an airport, and there was no airport there, nothing but swamp. So my truck runs out of gas, right? And I start hyperventilating because I'm thinking it's my transmission's getting ready to go out, and I'm freaking out about how am I going to get a tow truck back to Tennessee, you know? And Janice looks over at me. She's about to slap me because she's trying to get me to calm down. Finally, she just reaches over and grabs my hand. I think she's trying to mind speak to me too,
Yeah.
just looking right into my eyes. And she said, "It's going to be okay." She called Robin. They're bringing a can of gas to us. Everything's all right. So Janice gets out, smokes a cigarette, and I had that bladder urge again to have to go pee, just like I always get. And so I go down, stand off the side of the shoulder of the road, down next to the wooded fence line along the interstate. And I'm just, doing my thing, taking a whiz there, standing there, and I have an open eyed vision of this opening through the fence. And I'm like, my flashlight all up and down the side of the interstate. And I'm like, there's no opening here. Why would I think to have seen this vision of this opening in the fence? And Janice, their mind speaking with her, telling her, don't let him go in there. And she's like, don't let him go in there. That don't make sense. Don't let him go in where? Don't let me go in there through that opening in the fence. So I'm shining the flashlight up and down. There's a big oak tree right there. Suddenly the vision includes it with this opening, and I'm like, go behind the tree and look. There's the opening, and I went around the tree and I looked. Sure enough, there's an opening there in the fence where we just randomly ran out of gas and came to a stop at. And I looked back and I'm like, okay, there's no way possible I could have seen it where I stopped to pee because I was on the other side from it and the tree was blocking my view from it. And so I go through the fence. I'm walking down this path along the swamp, and suddenly something runs by me bipedally down this path, and it almost brushes my shoulder. It comes so close, John P., that it startles me. It's running footsteps running by me like gangbusters. And I jump, I swing around with the flashlight, look behind me, and there's a baby squirrel caught on a briar branch on the side of a tree. And my focus is just like ADHD kicks in. It's like squirrel. And like literally like a dog chasing a squirrel gets distracted or something from chasing a nut. And I'm thinking, I'm the nut experiencing all this craziness with Mohawk screaming at me in the back seat, and then this cloaked UFO coming in for a landing. All this is happening at the same time. This vision of the opening through the fence that I'm not supposed to go through, but I went through it and experienced this, being run by me. And all I did is think to go to release that squirrel whose skin was caught, a baby squirrel caught by that thorny briar branch. And as soon as I thought to make the move towards it, it instantly was freed. It instantly was released and shot up the tree. It's almost like the thought of releasing it is what released it. And I was like still 4 or 5 feet from reaching it. Like I couldn't have released that squirrel that was hooked like a fish hook all the way up underneath it to where it was just instantly freed. And by that point, the being that had just ran by me, I'd almost completely forgotten about. There's somebody behind you cloaked that just ran by you. Like it was just like, okay, it's time to go back through this opening in the fence and go back and tell Janice what just happened. So then we go to Robin's house after I've stopped and got gas. It did not stop, John P. There was another disembodied voice of a girl. I said to Janice, I said, have you got a tape recorder in your bra? And she's like, yes. You want to feel? You want to feel? You want to see?
My voice.
Yeah. I said, are you a ventriloquist? And she's like, well, frankly, I am a ventriloquist, but William, that was not me. It was not throw my voice and make the sound of a girl and a Bigfoot named is riding in the back seat of the truck down the highway. So we were at this conference down there, and the lights start flickering. The inflatable Santa Claus deflates and falls over. There's a disembodied voice coming through the radio show podcast where they're talking about this husband and wife that was thrown in prison and later murdered because they wouldn't sell their property down in Charleston so they could build the big naval base there. I mean, and they were talking to the
And I
woman.
was talking to
Janice
the
was
ghost.
talking to the ghost, and you could hear her voice through the feedback of the PA speakers, picking it up from the microphone. Like you could hear the voice, and then you could hear the echo of the voice being relayed through the speakers, just like we're getting feedback. And it was the most creepy thing because the lights start flickering. The workers there, it was at a home for orphan autistic children down there. And we were putting on this little like Comic Con convention, Bigfoot themed monsters and cryptids, ghosts and everything. And so we leave and had all this crazy stuff. But I get to Robin's house after running out of gas, and the first thing after hearing the second voice is I hear a tree get pushed over behind us in the woods there, and it was the Bigfoot. And I'm thinking, okay, trees naturally fall in the woods. Not everything is Bigfoot that you encounter, but sometimes it is Bigfoot. Sometimes everything is Bigfoot that's happening. And I'm just like the biggest skeptic, John P., that thinks, okay, it's just everything's explainable, everything's natural, everything's got a reasonable explanation. It's a cognitive dissonance that's kicking in at this point, right? And so I'm sitting there in the truck looking at Janice, talking to her. All of a sudden, it sounds like a World War II air raid siren. Like, I mean, yeah, people are going to think we're crazy sitting there in the parking lot, but yes, it sounded like the loudest scream, like air raid siren you could imagine, coming from the sound of where this tree had just fell. And then we finally go inside, and Janice is like, okay, William's got his guns, but don't worry, he's going to leave them in the car. And, because, yeah, she's mind speaking, and I'm like, okay, this is nuts. But she asked me to leave them, and so I did. I was like, okay. And so I go to sleep. They take me up to the bedroom and show me to the guest bedroom. I lay down in bed, and I'm thinking it's just from a long drive all the way from here to there. And the bed starts shaking. The music in your head. The bed is shaking, and I'm like, okay, how do who put the quarter in this pony ride? It's like, how do you get this bed to stop shaking? And I wasn't about to look under it to see what was shaking the bed after I put my arm over onto the windowsill beside the window, thinking it was an earthquake. I thought the whole house was shaking, the bed's shaking. I thought the whole house was shaking. I put my arm on the windowsill against the window, and it's not shaking, just the bed with me in it's shaking, like it's rocking back and forth. And I'm like, okay. And then I start hearing this grunge metal music playing in my head. And finally, after like the third song, like a radio playing, I even like sat up in bed just to listen to see if it's coming from down the hallway or the room next door. And it wasn't. It was coming from inside my head. They were trying to make this, connection telepathically with me that, I was a new person in the house there. And so they did establish the connection through the sound of that music and the radio, but that was only after I asked myself internally, how do you change this radio station? Like in your head, it's like, how do you change the station? And it stopped instantly. It's like, oh crap, he heard us. It's like they realized that there was the connection then, and it stopped. So then I wake up to the next door neighbor's dog, this German.
Wow, guys, let's see if he comes back. Beautiful. Oh my gosh. This is I don't think we've ever went so deep. Oh, he's back.
We're sorry, we lost you there for a second. It cut off. What
Oh,
part
we're
did he get?
three now. I cannot take the other one out. Let me see if I can take him out. Oh, I can. Okay, we're great now.
We're back.
Okay, so you were
Something
out
happened.
for 1 minute.
So, did you get to the part where he had the radio going on in his head,
Yes.
and when he
Go
said,
on from then.
"Okay, go on from there," when you said it's
Okay, so about 5 a.m. I get woken up from the neighbor's next door German Shepherd, and it's barking like it's literally after something. Like it's not like a friendly like. I mean, it's like. So I'm like, oh crap, my guns are out. Like, someone's going to break in and steal them. Somebody's messing around. Maybe it's Janice's broken up ex boyfriend that's living in the woods down here with the Bigfoot. Maybe he's out there, messing around. Maybe he thinks I'm Janice's new boyfriend or something. I don't know. So I get up, I put my pants on, and by that time it's probably about 5:30. I've listened to this dog barking so long I couldn't go back to sleep, worried about it. So Robin, she got up and she goes and looks out the front window at about 5 a.m. and she sees the Bigfoot outside. And it's just like, okay, it happens all the time. It's like, yeah, it's
you
like
and Robin are immune to this stuff.
it happens so frequently that Robin says, oh, it's just a foot. It's just a foot. And she goes back to sleep. Well, I get up at 5:30 and I come downstairs and I look outside the window, shining the flashlight all around, and I don't see anybody. I don't see anything. The dog's still going nuts. And I turn to go back upstairs, and Janice's daughter is like sleepwalking in the house. She's like upright in a trance, walking in the hallway, and we like bumped into each other. And I go back in and lay in bed. I can't go back to sleep hardly. Had very little sleep. And right at sunrise, I look out the window there, and there's a cloaked orb. And I'm thinking, well, it's probably just the sunrise from the ocean.
In the West.
Well, in the west, yeah, and ocean's the other direction. I found out later, and then I wait till about 8 a.m. to get up and go back downstairs, and Janice is up having her morning coffee and cigarette outside on the front porch, and I go out and join Janice, and I'm telling Janice about the night and the encounter and the experience. We happen to look over, and there's a big, greasy, like Vaseline jelly handprint on the passenger side truck window, and it's a big handprint from the Bigfoot. And we tell Robin when she got up, and she says, yeah, I know. I saw the Bigfoot outside. It went around David's truck trying to hide. It would like duck down behind the tailgate. And sure enough, I went around the truck, and you could see the handprints all the way around it where it was hiding around the back tailgate of the pickup truck there in the front yard. And so that handprint lasted on the window, even though I'd wiped the greasy smear off, the water would still beat up 3 months later. It's just like it had ectoplasm from them. It was like
Yep.
so visual that even the water and the window cleaner and everything, like it snowed one day and it was flurries, and the little drops of snowflakes were melting on the window, and it was beating up the water droplets just where the handprint was. And you could see the outline of it months later, like 3 months later. Even this friend, this coworker, could see the handprint, like with his naked eye, you could see it. And I would try to take pictures of it, when it would rain at night outside with the flashlight, and I tried to get a scale to show the size. It was bigger than what my hand is. And the interesting thing too, like with the pinky finger, it was real pointy at the tip, at the end. Like the fingers came to like a little rounded point. And I
Interesting.
found everything about it. Like you could see in print the individual sections of the finger's joint. Like you could see the actual finger dermal ridges in the print. So that was pretty interesting because Janice told me they don't have swirls in them, and you could see the lines running across. So you knew it wasn't somebody, like you knew it wasn't somebody trying to break in your vehicle, left handprints everywhere. It's different. It's like the
Their
hair is
fingers are
transparent.
too thick to use the handle.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think they can't get in your vehicle because yes, they can.
Yeah, I had them get in my locked vehicle before at work several times and leave handprints. They were drawing maps on my windshield, and one time they wrote "I see you" backwards, like the U upright, but the C was backwards on either side. So if you read it from the outside of the window, left to right, it was written one direction, and if you read it from the inside one direction, left to right, it spelled "I see you."
Okay.
So you're dealing with some type of intelligence, that's highly intelligent, highly capable, smart enough to get inside of a locked vehicle. And I had a pine cone on my dash, and I could tell from the fingerprints too that it was real young Bigfoot. I thought they were juveniles, but I didn't know at the time that there's a pygmy race of Bigfoot as well. Like Janice calls them brownies. And just like in Star Wars, the Ewoks, basically, 4 or 5 foot tall, 5.5, 6 maybe at the tallest, but usually about 4 foot, 5 foot tall. And I'd had sightings of them cloaked, run up like to jump scare you, like they're going to run up to grab you. One of them did one time while I was at work, and I jumped, but it was because I pranked them the night before with a hoop call, and they thought I was a Bigfoot. They were freaking out over me being over there where I wasn't supposed to be, thinking I was a Bigfoot. They're like, "What are you doing over there?" Like, you could hear them mind speaking with the Bigfoot that was across the street that knocked back his location after the hoop call. But it was funny because they would communicate long distance with those knocks. And me and Janice, we've had 2 different encounters where we've heard like the slamming car door metallic sound, like people talk about portal doors opening and closing and stuff, where you hear this just out in the middle of nature, a metallic sound, like a piece of tin. Yeah, nobody around.
Guy went over here to Back Creek.
Yeah.
I don't
Brian,
know whether you've ever heard of the Back Creek Stone from
Black Mass Paranormal.
But at any rate, there's ancient writings. They dug it up over here before they put the lake in, the Little Tennessee River.
The Smithsonian Institute in 1889 discovered this stone beneath the head of a giant buried in a mound with 8 other bodies beside him, 4 on the left, 4 on the right. The other bodies were facing north. He was a center figure facing south, and the stone was beneath his head. This is right next to Baker's Creek, where Scott Carpenter's buried, where he had his Bigfoot feeding station and his dog men sighting and encounters. So,
but at any rate, they found the stone. It's got ancient
Paleo Hebrew. They found out
Paleo Hebrew
in 1971. They discovered the writing was Paleo Hebrew after they thought it was a hoax transcribed from Cherokee. So this Smithsonian relinquished the rights to the stone, even though
they did the Cherokee. They gave it to the Cherokee for a while, but then the Cherokee had to give it back because it is not their writings. Well, you did not.
It's Paleo Hebrew, but it's a grave good artifact from. They attribute the mound culture to Mississippian age, but I think it goes back even further, almost to like South American pyramids. Even there's pyramidal mounds here. Even the whole area is a mound complex. But
we have mounds everywhere. It's like Star Mountain is actually a pyramid mound, but people don't realize that down here a little ways from us. But anyway, over here at Back Creek, and we were hiking. We were actually out. How to put it? That wasn't the same day that we shot the guns, was it? No. But anyway, we were out and we were looking for the Bigfoot, and there are Bigfoot in the area. So we're walking up, and this metallic. I was like, okay, this is an ET. It has to be an ET. But I kept looking in the trees, up in the trees, and everything. I never did see anything, but I could hear it, and it was giving off a metallic sound, and it sounded like a surveillance camera turning. I don't know whether you
like a servo motor, like, but
it had an underlying metallic sound, and I was like
buzzing sound.
Yeah, it was odd. And I thought, okay, there's no houses anywhere near here. There's no who's going to bring surveillance equipment up in the middle of no man's land, and set it up. And where's the generator for it if they do, or the monitors or whatever? Where are they? I'm looking around trying to figure out. But I've heard that sound before, and it was like a praying mantis ET up in Ohio at the time that we encountered. Me and another friend, not me and William, me and another UFO investigator, and it was giving off the same type of sound. And I thought, my gosh, are they here in Tennessee too? The same ET,
Yeah, John P. I mean, we've had several encounters down in there. The sighting of the dog woman that was pregnant was there, and I think I had a total of about 7 sightings. I think Janice saw her twice.
Yeah.
Saw her once with the pup, newborn.
Yeah, I saw her once with the pup.
I had like telepathic communications with her when she was in childbirth.
We got that goat thing down here.
Yeah.
That's evil.
Ancient satyr or satyr, like from the Greek mythology, just like with the pan and the naming of the chimpanzee, that Darwinian evolution, whose cousin was the founder or coined the name eugenics. So the whole cover up of Bigfoot scientifically, like it began back in the 1700s, the middle 1700s, with the naming of them being Homo troglodytes, basically cavemen. So they've known about Bigfoot and their existence scientifically. Like when they named the chimpanzee, they gave it the scientific name Pan troglodyte. But chimpanzees don't live underground, which is what troglodytes mean.
Never have.
But they erase the history of the Bigfoot because we couldn't evolve from something bigger, faster, stronger, and even smarter than us that has this association with like Native American burial cultures of the mound builders that had metal. Like that's the thing about this, John. Native Americans weren't known to be advanced culture of the metal age that would have rivaled Europe at the time. This guy at Bat Creek with this Hebrew inscription that says, "We are those from Judah," this very large individual, he had what was described as bronze bracelets. And the thing about it was they even tried to cover it up in 1889 by saying that they couldn't watch the excavation the whole time, that this archaeologist could have put that stone there. Like they had these allegations being thrown around, discrediting this scientific excavation and the guy's character assassination. Even back then, we talk about today, like what they did with Melba Ketchum in the DNA study, how she had to even change her name legally because of all the backlash from it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Janice can go in. She was a part of that. Even she could talk about that.
I was part of what was known as the Erickson, the Erickson project, where we did the study of the DNA on the Bigfoot. The mitochondrial side came back human, just like us, Homo sapiens sapien. The nuclear side, which is the male's, the father's side, is an unknown. And right before we went to air, we all got gag orders. Been told to shut up, and to release it, on the television for everybody, the public. But anyhow,
things cannot go out yet.
So people started speculating, and what that father's side could be. It the thing of it is, it only goes back so far, and then it's not anything that we are, on the father's side. It's not of this planet. So they said, oh, it was the Nephilim, the fallen angels that came down, and well, yeah, it could possibly be, but guess what? We could be also descendants from them, because if you want to believe the Bible, we all came from Noah, from his blood, from his sons and his sons' wives. Okay, they married into the giants, they married into the Nephilim, came, the fallen angels.
That's how the giants came about after the flood wiped them out, the Nephilim, because the descendants of Noah, even his wife, wasn't pure. Only Noah was pure in all of his generations, it tells us. And it says that they were in the earth in that age and also afterwards, basically.
Yeah.
At that time and afterwards, too.
And then you go back into the Sumerian text and you get with the Anunnaki,
Yeah.
who were supposedly the gods or the aliens that came down, and they made mankind in that type of story or mythology or, text. They made mankind as a servant to them.
Yeah.
Okay, but they also made all these other things, and they made, like the I'm trying to think of Anubis and all the others,
other cryptids and
other
stuff,
cryptids,
like
and
the
stuff.
dog men and stuff,
Dogmen and everything.
half human, half angel, half animal cryptids like the goat man and stuff that we've encountered here.
Yeah, but they considered, in Sumerian text, the Anunnaki were considered gods. Okay, then they go away and they revisit every 3,600 years, supposedly. But they were here to mine gold to send up into the atmosphere of their planet to stop the holes in the atmosphere. Okay, guess what? We have
Zechariah Sitchin.
Yeah, Zechariah Stitchin. You can read some of the stories.
Yeah.
But any rate, and it's like, well, Carl Sagan and all of them. I've read a lot of all of these books, and I'm studied with some of the world-renowned anthropologists, cultural anthropologists and whatnot. But at any rate, it's like, okay, go back into Gilgamesh account, which is Babylonian, which goes back into.
Yes, I've heard of that.
And you
Very ancient.
Yeah, you have Enkidu, which was a hairy wild man, for heaven's sake. You have what we would consider aliens.
And they were worshipped as gods too. They forced humanity to worship these giants and these half-breed creatures and entities, like the Egyptian Nubis and even
to worship these giant Anunnaki.
All these gods with wings and beings.
They wanted the copper. Do you know about that?
The what?
Janice, they wanted us to mine the copper and the gold.
The copper and gold. Yes, that's what they made us for. And Adam, in their language, in the ancient language, means slave.
Ah, interesting.
So they forced humanity into this slavery, just like with this individual at Back Creek that was a large individual. It was first said to have bronze bracelets with this Paleo Hebrew inscription beneath his head. Later they said, no, it wasn't bronze, because then you would have to have copper mixed with tin, and the sole source for tin come from mines in the United Kingdom in Europe. So how could you get cross-continent trade with Native Americans in North America unless they had ships? Well, guess who knew how to build ships? Noah and his sons. They just built the greatest boat of all time history with all the animals aboard it. So they would have known how to build ships in ancient days, and up until the time of the Celtic fleet with Alexander the Great, who burned 400 of their ships anchored at harbor. There was cross-continent trade with North American copper and gold and all these other metals that were being mined, just like this individual that was large individual buried in this mound, who they later said, no, it wasn't copper, bronze bracelets at that time, because that would be more advanced than Europe even. It was just brass, heavy leaded brass. Well, you're talking about an advanced metal culture of alloy of zinc, copper, and lead, which today they use that in like high pressure fittings for like pipes and stuff, because the lead makes the machining of the threads malleable, and it acts as a lubricant as well. So what were they doing making an advanced metal alloy that we used in modern industry today back then thousands of years ago to turn into bracelets? I mean, the nearest zinc mine that was known during Native American culture is in Oklahoma. You're talking about Tennessee, where the nearest copper mines, other than Upper Michigan, where they were mining this.
No. You have Copper Basin up there, Copper Hill.
Near Tennessee, there's copper mines, ancient copper working mines as well. And you got to remember the lead mines come from another area that's attributed to ancient Egyptian culture where they found the purple dye. Well, the purple dye connects back to that northern tribe of Dan of Israel and the serpent culture, which all these primitive cultures, like Hopewell culture and Adena culture, that all ties in with serpent culture of anthropology, just like the red hand culture. The cave drawings of Neanderthals painting their red hands on the cave wall culture. Those are all serpent culture as well. So you have this spread of culture from the Middle East, from there to North America, just like David Pilates was talking recently with L.A. Marzulli about the DNA results of the Paracas skulls, the elongated skulls of, where is it? In the Andes there in Peru and next to Peru.
I heard about that.
But anyway, their DNA came back to a haplogroup that's found in the Middle East. So you're talking about Middle Eastern people in South America now. The skulls are formed not from cranial head binding, the actual position on the neck where your medulla oblongata controls all your body's functions and your brain basically at the stem of the base. It's in a different location of the skull with those heads than it is ours. So it's really interesting. It's more.
Yeah, but like I said, you go back to the Anunnaki, and they supposedly. So I'm going to go out on a limb.
All that genetic.
Let me say that I am not necessarily any certain religion, but I do believe in God. I do believe that there are angels, and that there are the devil and demons. That said, I believe that if you look at your Bible like any other book that you would read and read it from beginning to end, then you get an overall picture of what happened in the past. But go back into the Sumerian text, which is the oldest text, and you get these stories of different beings. What if the aliens came here, the ETs came here, they made us as slaves to them to work the mines, the gold and copper and whatnot mines. And they made these other cryptid type beings. They used their DNA to mix with theirs, so that we would, we could say that they are the Nephilim or whatever, the fallen angels or whatever. What if we were sort of like a test tube baby?
I've heard that as well before.
And they genetically modified our DNA as the same with everything else. What if they're, we have these different type of ETs, extraterrestrial beings. What if theirs have been genetically modified?
Awesome. Incredible, my sister.
I mean, I think differently from a lot of people. Maybe I think too much. My mind never shuts off, and I try to find the answers. And if I can't find it one place, I'll look for it in another place. But it's not meant for us to understand everything.
Yeah, it doesn't give us evidence for sure.
Like, we don't believe in experts in anything.
I don't. And I'll get on some of these shows or at some of these conferences, and they want to call me an expert on this, that, or the other, Bigfoot or, Dogman or whatever. I'm like, I'm not an expert. I'm an experiencer.
Okay. I
But
have a question here. Have you heard of the Wadlow, the giant, 8 feet 11 inches?
well, that's yes, but that's not really a giant because I've heard of giants that were actually bigger than that. That they've covered up the evidence. Some of these different um, museums and stuff, and the people of the region get the bones, and you never hear of them again.
Yeah, we saw that one that ran up into that ball of light, John P. It was as
I'm
tall as
talking
a
like
street light. It was, I mean, I guess estimate 23 feet tall. That's just like the number off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Because it was like 23 feet tall when it ran across the road and went into the woods, and it lifted up like in an elevator, just like it was being beamed aboard this light. And then I realized what all these religious art paintings were about, where they depict this halo behind the head image, this iconography within religious art. Even as far back as into the 1400s, you see this.
Well,
You know?
Jesus,
Yeah.
you know, Michelangelo did. And what is that? Okay, the Last Supper, John P. Look closely at that painting. Over in the far right-hand corner in the top, there is what we would consider a spaceship in that painting.
UFO or
A
something.
UFO spaceship.
Yeah, all these visitations with angels, it's recorded throughout the Roman and Catholic period. They're often depicted with lenticular clouds in the paintings.
Yes.
And that's just like that lenticular cloud the night Travis Walton experienced seeing the lights in the fog with Matthew Delft and Angela Shearer. And I had the same experience with during that same time, just 11 miles from them, where I had the shadow run up behind me in the pink light.
But he was talking about the giant.
Yeah, the giant.
What were you going to say about the giant there that they discovered the, I can't remember the name of it.
Momomo or something, or
Wadlow the giant,
Wadlow.
8 feet 11 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you going to say about him?
Okay, so Mr. Earl said, if you ever heard of it, and then he said one of his great great grandsons was a full-time farmhand at our farm in Oregon. He was a redhead and built like a country boy, 375 lbs.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting, definitely.
Yeah. They got also out in, it's echoing again. Doggone it.
Go ahead.
Very interesting.
But yeah, out in Utah and the three corners of Mexico, New Mexico, and whatnot, you have the giant red-haired giants. That
Yeah, I've heard of that.
the we call them the Navajo, but they're really the Dime. If Dime, if you know the name and the Hopi and everything, they talked about them. They if you go down in the parts that they don't allow you to go all the way down the Colorado River anymore, but there is all kinds of pictographs and hieroglyphic drawings of this stuff. It's like the ant people, you know. What were the ant people?
Yes, I've heard of that as well. Do you know anything about that? Just to finish.
Well, I do. You know, they supposedly they brought about mankind, but they were definitely aliens and then dwelt underground. And even to this day, you know, supposedly they killed off the natives, killed off all of the red-haired giants because they were cannibals. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
that you know what does remind me. I don't want to talk about that, but that reminds me a little bit of the not so good part of the rituals. Just
Yeah.
Right.
reminds me.
Yeah. We know what you're talking about.
Well,
It comes to mind.
I had this book. Um, um, it's a banned book that a reverend back in the 1800s wrote of how a lot of the cultures were cannibalistic and how we ate our way to intelligence by being cannibalistic back in the day.
Yep. Very interesting. Look, remember in Africa, many still are.
Yeah.
Well,
Those
yeah, and even in Papua New Guinea, my anthropologist friend Roy Wagner, he's deceased now. He went down there and studied with them the last of the headhunters, what they call the last of the headhunters down there, and got along with them, documented their culture and everything. He was a cultural anthropologist.
Yeah, I think if you trace this origin story with these giants, you find that they cannibalized people, that they enslaved us, they forced us to worship them and these other beings as gods, like lowercase g gods. But Esau in the Bible, the hairy man, he settles in the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in the ashes of the heaps of the ruins, a settlement site in what is called Edom, which Edom actually means red. And when you mix Edom with Esau, you get red haired. So you get a race of red haired giants known as Edomites that came from Hittite wives of Esau.
Which came
Esau,
came from, you gotta go back.
yeah, and
They were
wow.
giants.
I think they were called Amalekites or something, Amalekites or something like that.
Even David is descended from Ruth.
Yeah,
David, and he was a Moabite.
a Moabite.
A Moabite,
Yeah,
which was like
yeah,
person.
lying like men of Moab instead of Samuel mentions these other type of cryptids. So Esau, he takes up with these cannibal race of giants out of the Arabian Peninsula that
Yep.
fed off the children of Israel. And it's so bad that the Bible commands Israel to blot out their memory. So there's a lot of ancient history that's been erased from memory because of God's commandment, because they were so evil, they ate children, and they became the offspring of these red-haired, hairy-bodied giants that came to North America, mining this gold and silver mines of King Solomon in North America. The Phoenician sailors and the Minoans before that even sailed around the world. We've got world maps showing Antarctica before it was covered in ice. So how would they have known that if they didn't have ships back then? You know, when the sea levels were different. But the thing about North America and the metal culture, the smoking gun, is the bronze artifacts that come from tin mined in mines there in Cornwall and Wales. And the connection to the ancient Celtic people, even descendants from giants, even ancient Britain gets its name from Brutus of Troy, who was said to be a giant. So we have a world history, not just a North American history, not just a Back Creek history, a local history. We have a worldwide global history of humans and cryptids that goes back to a cover up that began with the Reformation and Martin Luther, when they changed the word from the Septuagint Greek writing of the Bible, the word satyr, to a hairy goat or a wild goat, even though it was understood in that time that these cryptids were just that, these satyrs. Even science, your social science and eugenics, with the secret worship of these entities, started the theory of evolution from the idea of a pagan god of Pan. And the subgroup of the chimpanzee is actually titled Pan. And the name chimpanzee is pan troglodyte, which comes from the Homo troglodyte, that they replaced evolution with the lie that we evolved from monkeys. We didn't evolve, we were created in the beginning. God created us, and from there, the devil wanted the creation after his own likeness. And he created this mixed race of fallen angel hybrid humans. But the interesting thing in the Bible is it doesn't look to their past or their failures as mistakes as fallen angels. It sees their future through the finished work of Christ on the cross. His own coming came through their own mixing of bloodline, just like Ruth that Janice was talking about, who was a Moabite. She was a lioness. John, Jesus himself has the title of the Lion of the tribe of Judah. It all goes back to the twin brothers, Jacob and Esau, who Jacob, as the deceiver, was transformed into Israel. So we have the history of the Middle East and Israel with giants and these cryptid hybrids from Mesopotamia, from ancient Babylon, from the Sumerian texts, all the way through history, even with ancient Egypt, into the Greek, even who encountered these hairy giants of North Africa, and the descendants of these Edomites that were mixed race with the northern tribe of Dan, who happened to be serpent culture as well. So it's all connected. It's all related. In the UFOs and the cover up of secret government technology, of course, they're going to say it's from outer worldly sources because they don't want you knowing the true capabilities that they've already discovered from the ancient past, from what mankind had already known about. Like they know ancient Egypt had electrolysis gold plating because they were casting these clay figurines as gods, plating them with gold that can only adhere to clay through a process of electrolysis, electroplating. So they had electricity. Yeah, they had electricity back in ancient times. Baghdad battery, even. So if you
Which
think,
has gone missing, by the
yeah,
way.
if we could go to the moon in less than 200 years of the first flight of the first airplane, the Wright brothers, and the discovery from less than 200 years of electricity, even, Benjamin Franklin flying a kite, right? Gets struck, a key tied to the string gets struck by lightning, and he said to discovered it. He didn't discover anything. He rediscovered what was already known from those ancient texts, just like Dolly the sheep. When they cloned Dolly the sheep, it was 279 tries, but they didn't succeed until 279 tries. What made them think after the first failure, second failure, third, 10th, 15th try, 25th try, 27th try, to 270 something tries before they were able to successfully clone it is because they knew to keep trying it because it had already been done in the past. They knew how to do it. They just had to figure it out how they did it from before.
Good tried,
Yeah.
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 They kind of
And
knew the result, but had to do the tries to
You
get
too.
to it.
See you. You too. Thank you.
I couldn't hear you, hun.
What I meant was they had the result, but
Yeah.
to get to it, but to they needed to the how to get to that result,
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
exactly.
Kind of
And
reverse engineering in a way.
and uh, in if in any mythology or in the Sumerian text or whatever, you go back, you have, so to speak, these gods, and they always are coming down and they're mingling with us humans,
Yeah.
so to speak, and they produce offspring. Okay, now I'm going to ask this question. In the Bible, and I know there's a lot of religious people, and I'm not being sacrilegious and I'm not being blasphemous.
Okay.
If Jesus Christ comes back in a cloud from up in the sky, how many people, and he doesn't look exactly like we do today, modern times, how many people are going to think that he is some sort of extraterrestrial?
I know what you mean. Our brain, we never seen it before.
No, and you you have these AIs they're making and they're developing them that look like humans that can
Wow.
interact,
Oh
and
my gosh, that's
we
dangerous.
we have uncanny valley, which is our minds cannot accept something that looks so close to us, yet it's different. We fear this type of stuff.
Even
Yeah,
racism.
because
Yeah,
That's
we
even
won't meet
racism
other
stems from
humans.
that. You know, we're all the same type species. And I don't care if you're black, white, purple, green, or whatever, we're all the same kind species. But racism, has developed from uncanny valley. One color can't accept another color. Excuse me, we all came out of sub-Saharan Africa on
all
the
came from one family, Noah and his
well,
descendants.
if you go
Basically,
back DNA, we all
yeah,
came out of Africa from two Eves,
yeah.
from the original Eve. Okay, I'm sorry. People in sub-Saharan Africa back then had black skin, you
Yeah,
know. So why do we hold it against different colored skin tones? That's stupidity.
Or say that one race is inferior to another, or call them subhuman, like the Nazis did of the European steppe tribes of people that they went in and massacred under the name of eugenics. That's the name of social science that the Nazis embraced.
Well, I also think that we have the fear of these ETs because not all of them are the same type of ET. You have your Dracos, which looks like a big dragon type um, being. They're humanoid enough, but they've got like dragon type features, like what you would imagine a dragon would look like. Then you
yeah,
have the Zeta,
they do.
which have a spine. They look something like a, oh gosh, what is that? Spiny.
Chupacabra?
No, 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 no.
Oh,
The spiny ancient uh, dinosaur that
oh,
had the ridge down the back of the spines. Okay, and then you have
Okay.
the ones that look like reptilian. You have the grays and the whites that look very human, except they have bigger heads and bigger eyes than we do. And you have the ones that look like praying mantis. You know,
Yeah.
bugs and
gotta get out and stand.
rods and all kinds of stuff. Okay, I will. And it's like, but we're all connected. It's all connected.
We're gonna get out for a second.
Before
We've we've
we got
used
to
up
close
almost
your
all
mic
the battery.
here, Janice.
We're down to about 13%, but I want to show you how beautiful this is here.
I'm sorry, I didn't yak.
I'll show you right now.
Yeah. Can you guys see all this and hear all this?
Beautiful.
So, I mean, we've had sightings and encounters together and shared a lot of this history with you guys, but it's been our pure joy to get out here and show you a
Thank
little
you
look
so
of
much for
what
us
it looks like
today.
here. And
Incredible, man.
Yeah, I
really
can walk
incredible.
walk down here to the lake from the house.
Yeah. Really beautiful to be out and get to share it with you, John P. It's such an honor, really, to be here and get to share with you all and talk to everyone. And we're
Yeah,
not
thank
experts
you,
in any of
man.
this. We're just
Unbelievable, man.
trying to figure it out
Thank you so
ourselves,
much.
and stems from a lifelong, experience, even for the both of us.
Yeah,
But what I
man.
tell anybody is if you have questions, if you are naturally curious about any of this stuff, you know, go ahead and look for answers on your own and ask questions.
Yeah,
Try to figure it out for yourself. My answer might not be your answer. You know, everybody experiences things differently, and there's no wrong or
beautiful.
right to it. And if someone says that they're an expert on it, they're a damn liar. Excuse my language.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Look, I try to stay humble
Oh,
always,
you're very humble, Jumpy.
always.
You're one of the greatest to get to share with, and it's such an honor, honestly.
Thank you for having us
You-
on
You're
because
you're a blessing in so many ways, brother.
You
I
We
you
we
you've given
love you
me so
dearly. I
much.
mean, we say that from the bottom of our heart.
Thank you
I've
so
talked to
much.
Janice about you so many times,
yeah.
really.
But
Oh my
thank you.
gosh, Janice, you cannot understand how happy you made me.
Oh, you're welcome.
We've been scheduling this for a while, and I'm so glad that we finally made it, and it will be here forever. We hope.
It's so
Hopefully,
important too. I mean, to get to share and share with you. You've spent so much time, John P, studying this subject,
with John P.
researching it beyond belief, beyond imagination.
Look,
I
I
mean,
just ask the questions to the people, and I tell you, man, you know much, much, much more than me, for example. I'm not even close because you guys teach me. Look, I do not go very much into like the Bible and religion, and you guys just
but one,
I noticed you do the research so
yeah,
good, and
one
I
thing, John
I
P,
understand it. I
that
believe
that
you
I
so
really love
well.
from the Bible is that when it refers to those giants, those almost like fiery serpents, these fallen angels that mixed with humanity and created this Nephilim race. The Bible that's so special to me is that it never refers to them in the past tense as being fallen angels, which they are. It sees them in the future through the finished work of Christ, through the redemption, as sons of God, such that they were the sons of God in the beginning
they'll be the
and
sons
the
of God
sons
in
of
the.
God in the end. It's such a picture of God's grace that's poured out for all of us to have and to share and to see
Incredible, right?
and to realize this truth about ourselves and the origin of humanity. And in a lot of ways, the Bigfoot are teaching us about our own gifts and abilities, just like we've
Well,
experienced with.
so could the ETs be doing
Yeah.
so?
Oh,
You
yeah.
know.
Well, the ETs could be those very entities that came down. I mean, that's what we would call them.
Well,
Even
we're
if
good.
Jesus was to come back,
That's why I
we
said
would call
that.
him an ET. Yeah.
You would call them ET because they're not terrestrial of this earth.
Right.
They're coming from the heavens, from the clouds or whatever. If Jesus comes on a cloud down to earth, we're going to think that he's ET. A lot of people would
And
consider
we
him
believe
an
in
ET.
ultra terrestrials too, beings that are
Yeah,
from this world, not just from outer space, but entities and things that God's created. And he's allowed to be a part of that creation for that end goal, that final purpose, even in
yeah.
the end,
The
the end
octopus,
gathering.
for instance.
Yeah, the octopus, there's you an alien right there. If you ever want to think about something with super intelligence,
8 brains, 4 hearts, and lives in our deep oceans.
Yeah, that would be the perfect example of an alien from outer space, an octopus.
Yeah.
Think of an octopus and figuring out how to unscrew a lid of a jar. That takes a precognitive like association. Like you have to think in the future how to do something and then carry it out. That's an
And they're
advanced
super
intelligent, Yeah, highly
You know
intelligent.
the
And they have
stories
a
of the
cloaking ability. They can turn
giant
invisible,
octopus,
They can blend
the
into their
the
surroundings and
most
background even.
I can talk over me.
Yeah.
you remember, the giant octopus that sink the boats.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that. I
Oh
believe
yeah.
that.
I do too.
Yeah. There's not just humans that were giants, there were other things too. We've had sightings of dragons before.
Oh, we've had sightings. I mean, we went for 9 weeks. People thought we were making this up. 9 weeks, weekends straight, and sightings every time we went out. You know,
Yeah,
and
we've
then
done that twice actually. We tied the record at 9 weeks twice in a row, 9 consecutive weekends having sightings together.
and it's not
It's not bragging, it's just the facts, really. I mean,
yeah.
We're humble as can be
It kind
about
of
it.
brings them. It kind of calls them a little bit, right?
Yeah, it
A little
really
more
does. I mean,
connection.
we're like two magnets too to this
Yep,
stuff. Don't tell you when we come together. I don't I don't try to sugarcoat it any other way because it's just something we've lived with separately and
Yeah.
now together with, you know.
And it's not, it's not always Bigfoot, it's not always ghost, it's not always, I don't know how to describe some of these things that we have seen, except, like that badger looking thing that didn't have a head,
Yeah, that cloaked
that
like
cloak, or that football thing that went across in front of us.
yeah, like a cloaked UFO that was shaped like a football.
Yeah.
North American football shape.
Orbs.
Yeah, we've seen
When we say
bunches of
football, they
orbs.
think soccer in
Yeah,
a lot of places.
yeah,
We're talking about American football.
yeah.
But,
Do you
and
have any experience with electricity, Dave?
Yeah,
Like,
I've got a butter knife that I touched an electrical outlet with as a child, and it instantly melted at like 6,000
you
degrees to instantly melting.
still got the knife to
Yeah, I
prove
still
it.
got the butter knife to prove it where I touched both prongs. So instead of it grounding me, it went back into the wall. I had like a near death experience. I've had multiple near death experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
bless my
But I've still
brother.
got the knife. Hung on to it since my childhood. I was trying to go outside late after dark and stay out all night and play. And I thought if I unplugged the wall clock that my mother wouldn't know what time it was. I could stay out all night, you know.
Yeah, that's like my cousin taking the telephone wire, to the landline, thinking that they couldn't call the police to get after us or call to find out where we were at. My grandfather did a good one. He made us. It was snow on the ground, cold as I don't know what, and he locked the door. He knew where we'd gone. And we come back trying to get in after curfew, which was 10 o'clock. He locked the door. We ended up having to spend the whole night in the barn in the cold. I was very
Oh,
terrified.
wow,
I
my
was so
sister.
mad at her. I never did go anywhere else with her.
Yeah.
But anyhow,
My
Well,
dad,
the battery's running low,
this is
brother.
such an honor, man.
I hope,
Amazing thing. Oh my
We've
gosh.
had a great time with you.
I hope you can get something
We
Thank you
need to
useful
do a
again,
out of
part
this.
two with
sister.
Janice. You know,
Yeah.
we need to sit down and
I
really
I
organize our
owe you
thoughts and do
more,
like
my
a part
brother.
two and
Remember that.
answer answer people's questions from the comments or something. Do like a second part two interview with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, man, I think I don't have many questions because you were pretty detailed in most of things, really, brother and sister. So, and I told you you have more knowledge than me. You've helped me a lot. So I can only
Well,
thank you a lot.
well, you're
And
very
it's
welcome.
been a
Thank
blessing,
you.
Yeah, I'm still
Janice.
trying to figure
Thank you
things
so
out,
much.
even from my childhood experiences. So it's been helpful getting to talk to you. And
You
I
do that.
I
I
try
think.
to listen and
yeah,
relate what I listen what people tell me because I have
Hmm.
always a few stories and I love to connect the dots and try to find a
Right.
explanation.
yeah,
Without evidence, it's hard, right? But
Hmm.
yeah,
with your research, it helps a little bit to get closer to
Hmm.
what's really happening.
yeah.
Right.
There's a lot to be discovered still, even from the past and things that's been kept hidden from us on purpose. You know.
Well, it's just like this morning. I went out. Okay, the moon is over to the west. Now, this was early this morning before daylight. The moon's over there. Up here in this, right above the lake on this side up here,
There's a light.
there was a light, and it looked like a cat eye
Wow.
in the clouds. And I'm like, okay, what is that? Okay, never mind. I'm not going to take a picture of it. Nobody's going to believe me anyway.
Yeah. Isn't that incredible?
Incredible, my friends. Okay, so let's say our goodbyes.
Okay.
Do not leave.
God
I want
bless
to
you,
say a
John
quick
P.
word before we leave. Everyone, hope you enjoyed. We're gonna leave the song, okay, playing.
Okay.
This was my brother Ninja Dave and Janice Carter. Thank you
Oh,
so much
wow.
again.
Thank you, John
Bye
P.
bye, everybody. Big hugs.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.